What's up, friends? My name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That was the moon goat. That was a little bit of flying that I did today. Where's Epidemic Sound at? Quiet down, Epidemic Sound. I'm actually gonna leave it on though. What the hell? I haven't been able to see the chat, so I don't know what you guys are talking about, or if there's even anybody in here. Hey, there is. Remy Tim was first. Chomper FPV was next. Shenanigan in the house. Freelojo, Mavic Havoc, Amir, Charisma, Pramudia. How are you guys? Riot 9 as well. Chomper says, what's up? Freelojo says, just sat up to see my little doggo laying on his back. Nice. Free Range Chicken is here. Grant R is here. What's up, friends? So yeah, that was the moon goat. Got the, oh god. Oh, wow. That was unexpected and hurt. I just like leaned right into the desk with my chest and like I was trying to scooch in with the chair and I just went like wham! Oh my god. Last night I fucking smashed my forehead worse than maybe I ever have. I can't believe there's not a mark, but I was reaching down, like I don't usually spend much time in the kitchen, and I've been trying to more since, you know, turning 40 and all. And I went to reach down to get a pan at the back of the under thing, and then the other cabinet was here, and I just like the handles on the cabinets are like two little aluminum poles and then one aluminum pole like that, and then, you know, you grab it and you pull it on like the silverware cabinet, and I just put the fucking corner of that thing dead center, like I did it on purpose. I wham when I went to get the thing, and yeah, it hurt real bad. It hurt real bad. I was like dizzy, and it was the whole thing. I'm really, like, I was pretty sure that there was gonna be a huge black and blue mark like dead here. It's like the exact third eye spot. But yeah, it hurts. It hurts like shit when I touch it, but B-Man says, what's up? See what I did? Put Brother and Joseph together. I saw it. So we're gonna do some 3-inch Thursday. I can't believe it took me this long to think of this. Maybe this will become a thing. So we're going to put some propellers on this 3-inch rig. This is my main Cinesplorer with the Brother Hobby 2004s. This is the one that's gonna stay together for the time being. And just, you know, be my main Cinesplorer. So we're gonna throw some Gemfan 5 blades on here, and then we're actually gonna pull this guy apart. Well, not pull it apart, but we're gonna pull the motors off this guy. These 1804s are gonna go back on the Acrobrat. The Acrobrat, I thought I was just gonna be able to do that quick motor swap, but the Acrobrat also needs a new base plate. And that's a pretty big job, so I'm not totally sold on doing that tonight, but we'll see. Maybe. And I'm just gonna throw this Hero 6 GoPro mount on here just to get it out of the way. And then what I really want to do is get this CB5 onto these damn 1404.5 Pyrodrone motors, because I want to get this guy back up in the air, and I'm really interested to see if I think these are going to be too low of a KV. What's the KV on the other ones? So I also have the Pyrodrone 1303.5s. Oh, and these are 8,000 kV. Well, so there's been some chatter in the micro world that my previous setup of 5,000 kV 4S was too much kV. It was an unnecessary amount of kV for 2.5 inch, and I think that's nonsense. So we are gonna do these on this 2.5, and we'll see, because these are only 4,522 kV, and I think that's too low. But we'll do a little myth busting, and then if it is too low, these will go on the Ripsqueak. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll have 2 Ripsqueaks, one with 1404.5s, one with 1504.5s. That'll be another really good data point. Cool, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's gonna be really good. So we'll throw them on here first, check them on 2.5 inch, see how that is, and then if they don't work, I'll do the 1303 8000s and we'll motor scale them down, and then, yeah. Perfect, yeah, that's perfect. All right, great. So this little fella is gonna stay right here. No, it's not. I'm gonna put this over here because I want to get this done more than I want to get the Acrobrat done, and it's a lot less work. And I lied. I have not tried these HQ 5 blades yet, so these are what I'm gonna put on the 2004s, and I'm just gonna bang that out now. So yeah, I'm gonna be sitting in front of the chat while I do this because it's you know, not really exciting. So hit me with the questions, and we'll talk through them. How's the audio volume? I have Epidemic Sound. I have a feeling it's covering up the gate dropping down to nothing, and from the volume meter, it looks like it's pretty low. So I'm assuming it's okay, but let me know. Alright, so these are titanium M2x7s, believe it or not. These come with the Brother Hobby VY 2004 motors, which is pretty cool. Hey, let me hit you guys with I'm gonna hit you guys with a Facebook link. We're not going to talk about it, but I'm just going to hit you with it. And you guys can do whatever you want. There you go. There's a Facebook link. Really good post by Mark. But yeah, I don't know. You guys will see. Talk amongst yourselves if you want about that. Okay, so here is... Just need to move a couple windows around. And all right, good deal. B-Man says if you're gonna do 3-inch Thursdays, you should definitely do Mac. I was wondering how long it would take before the dick joke started. Mac Mondays. No, it's Micro Mondays. God damn it. Mark A is here. B-Man says show him what you're working with. And then Peter says what's up. Hope you're all doing well. All right, music is a bit low. Perfect. That's actually what I want. Riot 9. I want the music just to be there to. For whatever reason, I just don't. I just want the music to be really low. Just as like, you know. I hate this word, but it's the right word. Ambiance. I don't. Is there a way to say the word? Well, I guess if you pronounce it ambience, then it feels a lot less douchey. But if you pronounce it ambiance, there's not a way to say that and not feel douchey, is there? I don't think there is. So yeah, I'm putting these. So M2x7, guys. Start. Eventually, you'll start memorizing screw sizes. M2x7 is a good one to memorize. That is the screw size that you need for T-mount propellers. Great. We are off the rails already. Propellers. There we go. FinFPV says aesthetic. All right. Grant R says CiottiFPV, do you? All right. Deal. Deal. I will do me. Look at this thing, man. This Cinesplorer is. It's got these pink LED. Are they pink? I think they're pink. LED race wires. It's all clean. It's nice that you don't like. I mean, I don't yet. The Cinewoop is nice because it stays kind of clean. Like all my other rigs are just awful. Like there's carbon hanging off them. There's super glue all over the place. There's grass stains and like sticks hanging out of them. And then there's this nice clean Cinewoop that just gets flown over concrete all the time. It's the little things, you know? It's the little things. Prometheus says, I'd stay away from those motors if that's the issue. I'll stick with my tried and true. What do you mean? Oh, I guess you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Out of curiosity, what motors do you mean? You surely don't mean these Brother Hobby 2004s, because these are incredible. Alright, so that's the end of that little Epidemic Sounds playlist. So let me go to genres and electric, popular, scroll down a little bit, view more, and there we go. That should roll for a while. Oh yeah, the FPV cycle motors. Yeah. I just had a tuning session last week with somebody who'd been having those issues, and I was like, oh my god. I had to like all through the tune, I was like, all right, so this is something that you can back off if you have that problem again. It was kind of rough. Yeah, I mean, Bob is pushing the boundaries. This is what happens when you push the limits and you innovate, right? And this situation is really annoying in that when he was doing the testing and when whoever he had helping him doing the testing, unfortunately it wasn't me this time, everybody had ESCs that could handle a really extreme motor that's really wide and not really tall, that's going to have crazy response time. And yeah, I mean, this is what can happen when you're sort of chasing the dragon and looking for that last 0.5%, you know what I mean? It's like part cautionary tale, part like, ugh. I'm totally happy with 2306s. I would love to see some 2406s. I would love to. All I think I've ever seen is 2407s, and they just hammer the hell out of the battery. Have you guys seen any 2406s in your travels? The kebab motors that are desyncing are 2506s. So I'll bet that 2406 is just going to be a little bit safer, you know what I mean? Kebab's new motors are also a little heavy. I'm pretty sure that I'll stick with 2306 because a 29 gram 2306 is a beautiful thing. But a 2406 would be interesting if there was a lightweight one that was also durable. Huff19 says, but you were able to get it tuned. Quad is handling great now. There he is. Nice, Huff. Have you? What's the deal with the rates? Are you getting used to them, or are you gonna bail on them, or are you gonna kind of like find somewhere in the middle? Prometheus says, I love the Brother Hobby 2507s for 6-inch effing beasts. Yeah, so that's what I have on my high-speed rig. I found them to not be big enough for 6-inch tri-blades. They were okay on 6-inch bi-blades, but I'm not really a fan of bi-blades. They've been the best so far on... It almost seems like they're sort of somewhere in between. These are GemFan 5152s, and they're a pretty heavy 5-inch prop, 5.1-inch prop. They're really good on these. And they're also really good on the Brother Hobby GemFan 5552s. So you've got them on bi-blades? Okay, yeah, so they'll shred on bi-blades for sure. You'll get that good response time. If you wanted to go to tri-blades with them, Give these 5152s are really good. These probably weigh similar to what those 6-inch bi-blades weigh, so you'll probably get roughly the same response time on these 5152s. The 5552s are definitely heavier than those 6-inch bi-blades, and you can feel it. Like, the PID tune is just not as crisp. But man, those 5552s are really good. I really like those props. They just add a little bit of sort of laziness, which kind of works because that's the way the PID tune feels. It just feels a little bit lazy. Not in a bad way, just different. But I really like these 5152s. I have the ugliest colors on here to just work my way through them because I've ordered a bunch of these in black. So I'm just kind of shredding my way through the reds and the yellows and the blues that I for no reason have. But yeah, these are really good motors. I will say they're not very durable. These Brother Hobby Avenger 2507s. I've I've bent 3 bells, and I have another one that's starting to let go back here. It's actually dropping an arm, so I think this motor is shot, but I don't have an extra. I completely killed the motor up here, but it looks like this one took a little bit of abuse, and it's just not... or this channel on the ESC might be going, but I'm pretty sure it's this motor because this motor has a huge dig in the bell. So yeah. But, you know... that's life when you crash your rigs. This, it started when I slammed this, like 3 days ago, when I slammed it into an invisible tree as I was sliding sideways. So both left side motors went into this completely invisible tree. It was such a dumb, it was such a dumb crash. I was just out getting like the high speedness dialed in, and I'm like, just don't crash. Just do as long as you don't crash and bang up the rig that needs to be perfectly clean. And I just go hammering into this tree like a complete numbskull. I blame analog. Okay, so this my main Cinesplorer is good to go, and that means it goes on the wall. Gotta be really careful. That one likes to fall off of that nail. Lilithium says Hobbywing made a 2504. 2504. Jesus. So I wonder if they had desync issues, because that's not a size that should work. Interesting. Remy Tim says, "Yo, I'm here," even though he was the first one in here. You've confused me, Daniel. What's up, Lilithium? How are you? Grant R says, just got the glide frame. The lower plate complex X-brace part looks completely different from the website pics. Yep. FPV Cycle did update that part. I'm surprised that they haven't updated. Nah, I'm actually not surprised that he hasn't updated the website yet. Yeah, the new one's much stronger. You're welcome for that. I think I've broken 4 of those X plates, and 5 or 6 of the base plates, and I finally got around to taking pictures of all of them to show him the failure points, and then he updated them. So that was super cool of him. I love that he continues to do that. I was more sending it to him for like the next frame that he does. I didn't expect him to update the current frame. That was like super cool. Huff says, I'm still playing with the rates under actual parameters. I found that I like the center sensitivity at around 150. Okay. Yeah, we talked about how my center sensitivity is stupidly low. So it actually does not surprise me that you like it better up at 150, because down at 10, like, it's crazy. But I mean, it's, you know, I have a specific style that I'm going for. It's one of the things that I really like about actual rates is they really allow you to just change the center of the stick travel, the middle of the stick travel, and the end of the stick. It's so much of a better system than any of the other rate setups. And you can really just, like, easily custom tailor it to what you want, rather than, like, being confused. Like all the other rate systems having the RC rate control the entire slant is just silly. That's just a ridiculous setup. BH says, just got 2604 CiottiFPV motors from my Rampage builds. BH, be very careful with those motors. Everybody seems to be having desync issues with them. 2604 is a size that it's just, like, kind of off the edge of... Bob made a really nice motor chart, and he did a ton of research, and he found that there was a window, like this axis, I think, was stator width, this axis was stator height, and through a ton of research he realized that with all of these different motor sizes, there's a band where they don't desync. And those 2604s are well outside of that band with desync issues. So just make sure that you fly your first, like, I don't know, dozen batteries over grass and try to keep your elevation as low as possible, because you're probably going to get desync issues. And yeah, if you're only 5 feet off the ground and you ram it into the grass, it's not going to be catastrophic. So yeah, just be super careful. You're almost guaranteed to have issues with those. Well, here's a post. Actually, I still have it in my clipboard. There's a post. Mark Spatz is working on somebody's tune right now. Oh, Mark actually might jump on just audio, because I wanted to ask him a question that I've had for a little bit about motor scaling versus throttle scaling, and if we should be motor scaling less and throttle scaling a little bit. It'll make sense it'll make sense to some of you guys. It's a pretty convoluted sort of question that might go over some of your guys' heads, but that's okay. Once we talk through it, I'll be able to kind of break it down and just basically say, like, do this or don't do this. No pressure for tonight. I literally I just happened to be messaging back and forth with Mark like an hour ago, and I was like, by the way, what are you doing tonight? So, like, if he can manage to come on, he's just a superhero, but don't hold your breath. If he is gonna come on, I need to figure out how the hell to get his audio in here. So I need to figure out how to pipe in Discord audio. And I don't think I've ever done that before. Audio input capture. Well, let me launch Discord. Audio input capture. Okay, yeah. So the Discord. Okay. Device. Oh yeah. See, this ain't gonna do it. Let me just do a Google search real quick. Discord audio into OBS. Lithium says Zing has a new 2405. Yeah, that 5 is a little, although maybe. I don't know. BH says, hate to hear that. What can you do? Battle against the desync. That's what that post is going to talk about for you, BH. Yeah, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't want you to lose that rig. You know, if like you maiden it over the water or something like that. Yeah, those CiottiFPV motors are known to be a a real pain in the ass with desyncs. Use a yeah, I know, Ruby Tim. We were doing this. I'm trying to think of how the hell we were doing it. You could just use a scene that has both desktop audio and mic audio. Should be that simple. I don't use recording software, DJ. All right, so let me. Well, I mean, there's an article right here. It probably says to do exactly that. Blah 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 blah. Capture Discord desktop audio source to your scene. Okay, we got that, so that's good. After clicking, see what we got. It was captured. Okay, cool. And then select the desktop audio. All right. Yeah, I think the desktop audio, it's just gonna work. The weirdness is gonna. Well, I mean, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna maybe if Mark has time, we'll muddle through. All right, cool. So let me leave Discord opened here. Let me also pull. So at that link, did you guys see what I was talking about? Did you guys see the exchange in the comments that was a little awkward? A little strange. I don't know. All right, cool. So that Facebook window is open just in case Mark's got time. Maybe he'll hop in and we can talk through this one thing that I've been thinking about lately. All right, I think I'm caught up on chat. If I missed anybody, just copy and paste if you don't mind and tag me again. Let's start ripping apart rigs. Hey, look at these. GemFan made a 3-inch foldable prop, and it's a lot better than the Dow 3-inch foldable prop. The Dow 3-inch foldable prop is a full-size propeller just with shorter blades, and that's kind of silly. This is the GemFans is actually a T-mount. So yeah, this is kind of cool. I'm gonna try this on the. Well, wait a second. Let's see. Will they clear this CB 2.5 frame? I bet you they won't. They will not. But since they're foldable, maybe they'll just fold out of the way. Maybe they'll just hit this standoff and fold out of the way, and it won't be an issue. Okay, so these 3015, the pitch is a little low. They're 3015, 3015. So yeah, that's a little low on the pitch. That almost kind of maybe makes it a toothpick propeller. But I'll spin the bejesus out of them and we'll see what happens on something. To be continued on those. Let me start pulling this guy apart, and we'll zap these motors off real quick. And I never noticed that, like, I reach. I did not do that on purpose, believe it or not. That's. I like it. I like it, man. No, this can't turn into one of those streams. I can't let this happen. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go off the rails. Don't start dancing. Don't. Oh, thank God. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Good timing. I was about to give you guys like the full desktop audio. It was about to get really, really bad. I'm feeling saucy maybe because I have actual clothes on that I've got like jeans because I was out flying. So I don't just have like fucking sleeping pants on that. got the rib squeak and let it dance. Just remember.
諦めんなよ。諦めんなお前。どうしてそこでやめるんだそこで。もう少し頑張ってみろよ。ダメ夢諦めたら。周りのことを思うよ。応援してる人たちのことを思ってみろって。あともうちょっとのところなんだから。俺だってこのマイナス10度のところ、しじみが取れるって頑張ってんだよ。絶対やってみろ。必ず目標達成できる。だからこそ、ネバギブアップ。
Always remember, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Here we go. Hey, you want, here. Hold on. Before I go over to the bench, here's some more flying from today. Jesus, Dan. Don't say that. Nobody wants that. Yeah, here's some more moon goat flying. Is that gonna play? Oh yeah, that'll play. Moon goat. Goat from the moon. Here you go. What just happened? Wait a second. What happened? There it goes. Alright, here's some moon goat.
With the Session 4 FPV camera, I can only get it to like 25 degrees up tilt, so it feels a little awkward, but let's go.
That's the same one. How's that possible? Oh, I hit the wrong button. I didn't hit the wrong button, I hit the down arrow. Ooh, this is a good jam.
Go with the Session 4 FPV camera, I can
goat from the moon. What is this other nonsense on here? What is this? Oh, I'm wearing the same shirt, but it's definitely a different day. No, it's not. Is this just earlier in the day? Oh yeah, this is where I put it into the goddamn tree. Yeah, there it is. One last little moonboat. Moonboat.
Moongo, the session 4. Moongo.
Adding D-gain. Adding more D-gain. To the friggin' moon! Sometimes you just gotta hammer it and just go to the moon, man. It's worth it. It's always worth it. What are these other two ones on here, though? This must be a previous day. 221. This is farting around at the church. Nobody wants to watch this. Although there are a couple high-speed passes in here which are kind of fun that I haven't even looked at yet. Hold on. Come on. Did I not? There it is. One second. Let me see if there's anything cool for you guys in this. I don't think there is. Why am I not letting you watch? Oh, for Christ's sakes. Every time I hit the down arrow, the down arrow. What the fuck pronunciation was that? Oh, okay. Yeah, nothing fun in here. Alright. Let me get caught up on chat real quick. DQ says, what do you think about the Impulse RC Apex 4-inch frame, which also comes in 3-inch? As a 4-inch frame, as a 3-inch frame, it's way too heavy. Way too heavy. As a 4-inch frame, it makes a lot more sense. The problem is, like, what's it for? Right? Like, for me, like, I try for my rigs to have, like, a purpose, right? Like, this one is to carry a Hero 8. This one's is meant for carrying a Session 5. You know, this one's meant for carrying a run cam hybrid. Usually it's surrounding the camera, right? The camera is the payload typically. 4-inch rigs don't really fit anywhere. 5-inch rigs are really good at carrying a camera that's between 80 and 120 grams, right? The Sessions and the Heroes. 3-inch rigs are really good at carrying Insta360 Go's and or naked GoPros or run cam hybrids on board. What else is there? That's sort of the problem, right? Like, a 4-inch rig is going to make more sense for carrying a like 40 to 60 gram camera, and there is no such thing. So like once we have a good 40 to 60 gram camera, which I mean it's only a matter of time, right? Like we've got the Insta360 Go at like 18 grams, which is shockingly good. And then we've got the naked GoPros, which are like 20 something grams, right? It's only a matter of time, I hope, before we get like a 60 gram or like a 50 gram, basically like a Session 5, right? Wouldn't it be dope to have a... EDoc says the Runcam Orange is 50 grams. Perfect example. Unfortunately, the Runcam Orange is as fragile as a something that's very fragile. Mine blew up on the very first crash, and then it totally tanked on the second crash. So yeah, at some point we'll get a durable 50 or 60 gram camera, and 4-inch rigs will make sense. But until then, the only thing that 4-inch does a really good job with is long range. If you're putting like a 20-ish gram camera on it, so the Micro Apex 4-inch, like, yes, it's a great frame, but why? Yeah, there's just not a payload that really makes sense on it quite yet, but I bet you there will be at some point, and that'll be super cool. Rocksteady says, finally caught a live stream. Very nice flying. Thanks, brother. B-Man says that tree line run was so dope. Yeah, I love that spot because of those trees. It's just infinitely fun. And then we've got B-Man says, how is this thing so quick? What are you running? Nothing special. I mean, that's just my regular old glide. T-Motor F40 Pro 4, which are 2306s. 2400 kV scaled down to 65% or 70%, which is the equivalent of like 1700 and change kV. Nothing crazy. And then GemFan 51433 props and 610-ish grams. Oh, there's a troll stealing my water. You fucker. How dare you?
I just want to stay hydrated. So.
Alright, you reminded me to drink, so
Yeah.
You get a pass. Did you guys see her come in? Did not tell me? You fucking betrayed me. Chat, you bastards. I wouldn't have known. I'm not at the bottom of the chat anyway. Oh no, 5-inch rig, guys. That's not a 3-inch rig. No. 3-inch rigs can't cover ground that fast. I mean, they can, but you have to stand them up at like 80 degrees in order to cover ground like a 5-inch rig. UAV Tech is here. What's up, Mark? Let me go back to Facebook. Mark, you want to jump on? I don't know how to get it to work, so this is going to be part figuring out how to get Discord to work, part... No, it's going to be all trying to figure out how to get Discord to work. Mark, there's a voice channel. I think you're on my CiottiFPV Discord. There's a channel in there called Live Stream Chat. I am jumping into that channel. Do me a favor and see if it'll let you join. It should. It should let you join that channel. Oh, and I don't have push to talk on. I'm gonna go turn push to talk on real quick, Mark. Permissions, advanced permissions. There it is. Speak. There it is. Oh wait, no. That's not it. Man, I don't know how to do anything. Hold on, let me get caught up on chat real quick. License to Drive says, have you seen my latest TPU designs, vertical mounts, mini motor T? I have not licensed to drive. Either link them here or in the Discord if you don't mind. I asked TBS if they have spare dead tracer board and antenna they could send me making folding TPU mounts. Ooh, that'd be cool. Because I keep getting asked about tracer mounts. Aschenberg, thanks, brother. Schwer Gustav says, would the Xnova 1804s be overkill for a 3-inch ripsqueak? Yes, they would, Schwer. The ripsqueak is just not heavy enough to need that big of a motor. The Brother Hobby 1504.5s are what you want for a Ripsqueak. The Xnova 1804s are perfect, though, on the Acrobrat. But the Acrobrat ends up being like 40-ish grams heavier than the Ripsqueak Micro, which is why it needs that extra motor. B-Man says, you must crash like a bear in heat because my RC lasted me months of slams before I dropped it 100 feet on its head and it exploded. I do crash really hard, that's for sure. Here's the other issue. My biggest issue with the Runcam is that you can't get physical damage protection on it. So if you blow it up, you're out the $100. And that's, I mean, that is what a Session 4 costs on eBay. So I guess nowadays that's not as big of a deal. But yeah, I don't know. EEDoc says, Runcam seems like the company we can cyberbully influence into making the kind of camera we want. That would be great. They don't have... I think it's more realistic for Insta360 Go to do it, to be honest with you. But you never know. We'll see. B-Man says, any reason why you run only 1700 kV on motor skill at 79%, makes it 1900-ish. I just don't like the extra power. I like to try to keep the amount of power down on my rigs as low as I possibly can, because that forces me to stay down near the ground. If my rigs have too much power, I find myself just hurling up into the sky, and then I just have to wait to come back down. Whereas if I have less power, it just keeps me down towards the ground where there's obstacles and cool looking stuff. It also gives better throttle response. The less horsepower, the throttle stick only has a certain amount of travel. So if in that travel you have 1,000,000 horsepowers, every little tiny bit you move it is going to make a bunch of power difference. Whereas if you only have 100 horsepowers, you can move it a little bit and just get 1 extra horsepower. So it allows you to be much more accurate. When you have a lot of horsepower, what you'll notice is your elevation bounces all the time. Like especially you'll come down from a dive and then you'll bounce up off the ground. And I don't like the way that looks. I like to come down off of a dive and just suck to the ground and then just stay stuck like 2 inches off the ground. And one of the best ways to do that is to have more throttle resolution so that you have a little bit more leeway, right? Like if you blip the throttle a little bit too hard, it's not going to jump up in the air. It's just going to jump a little bit, and it won't look like a mistake in the footage. All right, cool. We're caught up on chat. Let me see if there it is. Use voice activity off. Okay, save changes. All right, so now we have to use push to talk. Although it doesn't look like it's working. Oh my god. It's not forcing me to use push to talk. Hold on. Permissions. Mute speakers, deafen, deafen members, mute. Wait, what? Priority speaker, use voice activity. No, I have that turned off. Allow I guess everybody else has to use. Well, I guess it makes sense if I'm streaming for me to be voice activated. I don't know. Let me grab a link to the Discord and send it over to Mark. Let's copy link address. All right, there's the link to the Discord. And can you see if you can join the what the hell is it called? What is it called? Live stream chat. Live stream chat channel. Okay, cool. Mark is typing back. Can't join live stream for some reason. Let me change your permissions. Okay, I think it's my fault. I think I need to go here, click on Mark, and right-click him. Oh, okay, yeah, there's no roles. So let's go with name. Oh, yeah. Mark is a name drop role. That's perfect. Okay, so I got that, and then I just need to edit the channel. And I need to go permissions, and I need to add role name drops. Okay, Mark, you should be able to join now. Able to now. Okay, so let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. All right, so Mark, you have to use push to talk. And I'm just gonna look for your name to light up in green. And then I gotta try to figure out how to get your audio into OBS, which is gonna be the real nightmare. Oh yeah, we could just do a voice call. That's true, just like you and I did, Daniel. Of course. But I do kind of want to have this set up, so let's. Oh, he's muted. He's muted. No, I need to unmute. Oh wait, no. I think you've muted yourself, Mark, because I can't change the muted thing. Unless I turn off. Maybe I need to turn off the push to talk. Let me try that. Oh God, so it's. All right, no, let's just do a voice call. Screw this. This is absurd. I'll figure this out. No, wait, no. Let me try one more thing. No, Mark's gone. No, he's back. Let me change my mind 18 more times. Edit channel. There we go. Hold on. Yeah, let me try this. Let me try to turn off the forced push to talk. Use voice activity. There we go. All right, let's see if that works. For voice activity. And I'm just keeping an eye on Mark's name to see if it lights up in green. And I haven't seen it yet. Let me go back into permissions real quick. And for allow voice activity, I'm going to hit the green check mark. Maybe that's what I need to do. Why is Discord so difficult? Why am I so useless at computers? I used to be so good at computers. Athix says, do you like 2450 kV as a 4S motor? Absolutely, Athix. 2500 and up is a bit much for 4S. It really hammers the 4S battery, which and they have sag issues anyway. EEDoc says you need to drag him into the chat. Well, he's already in the chat, in the live stream voice chat thing. It says I don't have permissions to talk. Mark just messaged me. Okay, cool. Let me get that figured out here. Don't have permissions to talk, eh? Edit category. Permissions. Edit channel. Okay, he doesn't have permissions to talk, huh? So that's in the permissions. Who can access this channel? Name drops. Okay, good. Here, I'm gonna bring this over so that you guys can take a look at it while I look at it. So then view channel, allow members to view this channel. Okay, good. And then manage permissions. So here's the voice channel permissions. So I used voice activity to this. Oh, I'm a dum-dum. That's what it was. Allow members to hear others, disabling this. No, I think I want that as well. Okay, I think that may have fixed it. Maybe you need to jump out and back in again, Mark? Let me type that to him. Try jumping out and in. I think I got it. Oh, there it is. The little muted icon is gone. Oh, and Mark's lighting up green. Okay, cool. So now I just need to figure out how to get the audio out of Discord into OBS. And in order to do that, so let me kill Epidemic's sound, just so there's a little bit less going on here. And then let me take the desktop audio and enable it. And now hopefully I won't get a horrible delay. All right, Mark, say something. You there? Damn. Okay, it's not coming in. So desktop audio is here. I think I need to tell. Let's just do it as a voice, as a direct voice chat, Mark. Let me hit your name and I'm gonna call you in here, because when I call you in here, it's gonna give me the option to to choose where I send the audio. All right, so I've called Mark and let's see what's gonna happen here. All right, Mark just picked up, and I might have just hung up. No, I didn't. Okay, we're good. All right, so now I can here. I'll show you guys. Now I can come over here, and I can select. Look at this. Look how awful Discord is. Look at this. It's off the top. I was dealing with this the other day. I show you. Oh wait, so output device. I need to go to. I think this might do it. Mark, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know. Are you there?
Oh my God, it's working. So, say something one more time, Mark.
Hello, hello.
Oh,
everybody.
perfect. And so that's picking up through the desktop audio. The level even looks okay. And then OBS is taking me from the Zoom mic. I think we're good. Awesome. I just need to. I need to put.
So from that drop down, you just pushed it right to OBS. Is that how that works?
Yeah. The little
Yes.
thing here, and then you get to pick your input and your output. The thing that's going to happen though is I think there's going to be a delay. Or chat. Are you guys getting a delay? Mark, give me a little sentence.
Check 1, 2. Hello, chat.
So I've now turned up my speakers so that I can hear Mark, but Mark is also going through the desktop audio directly to you guys. So I think there's going to be, yeah, Brandon just said small echo.
Yeah,
let me
it's because you need to put on some headphones, buddy. You're not a, come on. You need to be a
Yeah, I
proper
do.
streamer.
I do.
Fucking Jesus Christ, guys. This is...
I was seeing, I was seeing if I could cheat it, man. I hate this headphone nonsense. All right, I'm going to do it. I mean, alternatively, I can just turn my speakers down really low and like just really listen carefully for you, but I know I'm going to miss half of what you say.
No,
So-
yeah, and those you got to put on big, huge honking headphones. Come
Oh
on.
yeah, that's it.
like, jeez, what is this look here? Earbuds? You're going? Oh, come on.
This is all I got, man. Look, I'm on a budget. Budget FPV up in here. You know this.
That's actually not a bad name. I bet you somebody has that one already, though.
Dude, I've thought about snagging that name before. I've never actually looked to see if anybody else has it. So here's my other issue. What's gonna happen when I do this? So now the output is coming to my headphones, but I bet you we just lost the desktop audio.
Yeah, well, do you need it?
Oh wait, no, there it goes. Nice. Okay, cool. So I think. Oh wait, so now I just got to turn this down, and give me one more sentence, Mark.
Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Can you
Christ.
hear me now?
It's not outputting. Oh! I know. Okay, hold on. I didn't need to change that output. I need to change this other output, and it's in here.
Starting
Output
lineup.
device. Headphones. Where's headphones?
Who's the starting? I don't have a starting lineup.
What's the starting lineup?
I don't know.
I show you audio capture output. Oh, damn. I don't know how to get this to my head. Oh, I need to do it in OBS. I need the. Oh, yeah, right. OBS output. Got it. Okay. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit so that there's no more here. I'm going to come in here, advanced audio properties, monitor, and output. Balls. It's already set up to do it.
You know, Bardwell would have had this figured out in like at least.
Well, you know what he would have
15
done is he
minutes.
would have done it not on a live stream.
He has like $1,000 worth of equipment gear sitting there ready to go for it, so he's fine.
Right. No, the speakers don't. These are like $10 speakers. They don't have any kind of like fancy headphone output. What? I gotta be honest. I'm a little confused as to why the computer is not just outputting to the effing headphones. Output headphones. I mean, why is
It's
it?
because
Not...
it's an Apple, dude.
Do I? Don't you dare!
Now we're not friends anymore. Forget it.
Don't you dare!
You crossed the line. You crossed. You had to go
everybody
across the
says that
line.
it sounds fine now. You know what? Headphones can eat me. It sounds fine, and I have just about enough of your audio where I can hear you, so we're going to be totally fine. I'm just going to probably lean towards the speakers a little bit. Oh, unplug the speakers. Of course. Of course. Right. Right, because that'll force it to go to... well, I think... Let's see. If I can't figure this out in this 1 second here, we're just gonna muddle through. Oh god, I'm under the desk. Oh god, it's hairy under here. All right, speakers are unplugged.
If he doesn't come back up in 10 minutes.
You there, Mark?
I'm here. Are you here?
Yeah, okay, so that didn't help. Say something else, Mark?
Hello.
All right,
Did
yeah.
you
so
get
that's
it
not
working yet?
That's weird. I wonder why the headphone out is not working. We're gonna be fine. This is okay. I gotta plug this back in. Okay.
So there was a Ciotti. What was it? You were gonna do like a battle bot. Maybe there should be a Ciotti Bluetooth headphone. You know, battle bot
man.
with Bluetooth headphone.
Wires are the future. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I do notice the.
We're gonna run out of lithium, and we're gonna go back to wires, and I'm gonna be just sitting here like. All right, cool. So, Mark, thanks for bearing with me. Here's my question. I've been going 2400 kV 6S and motor scaling down to 70%. So that now pulls the PIDs down. All right, so... Right. So here's my question, though, right? Basically, and I think I know the answer, but why should I not leave the motor scaling at 100% to give the PID loop a ton of authority and then just move my PID values down and then use a throttle scale to get the full throttle explosion under control versus what I think maybe... What's your take on that question?
I know the answer. You don't need to go into more depth. Because think of PID as timing. We think of PIDs as push, but it's not really pushing. I mean, your motors only have so much power. PID loop can't physically make your motors
more power, right? So what's really happening when you're upping your PID gains?
Hold on 1 second, Mark. I changed scenes and grenaded everything. I need to turn on desktop audio. There we go. All right. Just, say all that again, Mark.
All right, you still got me?
I do. Now you're good.
Well, we didn't want the live stream to hear me. It was just this was just a conversation between this was just between you two, me and you. I mean, are they patrons? Only if they're patrons, you get to come in on the.
Yeah, right. Yeah, on the replay.
All right, that's right. So, anyways, think of your PIDs, the magnitude of the gains as timing, and not as push. So you're thinking about like, if I lower the PIDs, the scaling down, then the scaling of 100%, those PIDs won't push to 100%. Like,
right.
How do I explain? This is where I could use like my on-camera explanation. The PID sum that goes out to the mixer, right? And then the mixer says, hey, I have 4 motors. I'm going to split up the signal. And make, if you want to roll to the left, that means move the two, spin up the two motors on the right. Like that's what the mixer knows. But the PID sum operates in a percentage between 0% and 100%. That's all the PID sum knows. So when you do motor scaling, it's moving that 100% top, the 100% part, and it's bringing that down lower in what it's going to push out to the motor. So when the PID loop's saying, I'm pushing 100%, the mixer is basically saying, okay, yeah, I know the PID loop's asking for 100%, but since he scaled it down, he scaled it down to 70%, I'm really only going to push 100%. So the PID loop's saying 100, but the motor mixer is saying, well, that's, Ciotti really wants me to only do 70% to these motors because his KV is rocking it, and that's all I'm going to push. So that's what the scaler is doing, right? So you can never push above, or you can never spin the motors up above 70% if you scale them down. Let's just use 70% as an arbitrary spot.
Gotcha. So what?
However,
go ahead. Sorry.
However, the PID gains themselves. So we talked about scalar, right? You're taking that 100% and you're rescaling it down. So 100% from the PID sum is really 70% coming out of the mixer. Okay, let's compartmentalize that, set that aside. That's what that thing does, the motor scaler. Now we're just talking about the PID loop itself. So what is actually occurring when you increase the gains or decrease the gains? If you're when you're increasing or decreasing gains, you're really talking about what reaction is going to have priority over the other. Like you have this P loop, the I, you have the P term, the I term, and the D term, right? At its basic thing. So as you increase the gains on the P term, that's going to take more priority of the signal going to the PID sum. So literally the PID sum is the sum of the P, I, and D values together, right? I'm trying to explain this as simple as I can, but your P term is the PID error times a gain. So the PID error, you got to kind of walk through these things. You move your sticks, and you move your sticks to the right. Your quad is still not moving to the right, right? Because you just did it, and the PID loop detects that, like, hey, the sticks move to the right, but the quad reading the gyro signal is still going straight forward. That generates an error. That's like, hey, the sticks are saying to go 100 degrees per second to the right, but the gyro is still reading at 0 degrees per second. It's not rotating to the right or left or anything. So that's a gap. There's 100 degrees of PID error right there. The P term is taking that times whatever gain you have and pushing it out. The I term is also starting to do something. And then as the quad starts to roll to the right, the D term is also starting to do. And they all have different reactions. They're not all doing the same thing. They're kind of the yin and the yang with each other, especially the P and the D.
Sure.
So as you're adjusting the gains, you're basically saying to the PID loop, if you make the P gains higher, you're basically saying whatever the P gain is saying to do, which is close that error between the gyro and the set point, or your sticks and where the quad's actually at. You're saying give that top priority as you move the P gains up. As you move the P gains down, you're giving it lower priority. So within the mix of the gains themselves, and I know you know all this stuff, but this is not for you now.
This is perfect. No, I was hoping that you would do exactly this.
Right. So in the mix of the gains, that's what you're doing. You're saying, hey, what are we giving more priority to the next? So with that, we have to find out the optimal gains between the terms to balance everything out, right? And that's where we talk about the PD balance and all that kind of stuff. So once you have all that done, now let's think about what's it mean if we have the balance between all the terms and we move them, all the gains up or all the gains down. Like in Betaflight, you have the master multiplier slider, right? That moves all the gains up and all the gains down. And we say that gives the quad, if you move all the gains up together, that gives more push. Well, it can't really give more push. Your motors only have, I mean, it's not like it makes your motors more powerful, right? They only have a certain amount. They're a mechanical thing. There's a fixed amount of torque and RPM and all that. And the PID loop's not going to, some software thing's not going to adjust that. So as you move the gains up, what you're really doing is advancing when those signals are being pushed out to the PID sum. That's a topic I don't think that I want to talk about that more and more on some of my videos. As you're moving the gains up, you're basically saying as soon as there's just like, look at the P term itself. As soon as there's a little bit of error, spike the P term to close that gap. The higher the P gain, the faster that spiking is going to occur. So now back to your original question.
That's interesting because that's to me like that has been my underlying understanding of P gain and how I've always used it previous to feed forward, and to be able to break that out from feed forward has been amazing.
Yeah. So motor scaling is going to be different than pulling your PID gains down, because let me think about that.
So how about this? Here, I think this might help to explain it. The other side that I'm thinking of with this, right, is should I not motor scale all the way down? Should I, so I'm motor scaling down to a 70%, let's say, right? So would it be beneficial to only motor scale down to 80% and then to throttle limit down to 90%? So that I have the correct amount of power that I want, right? But I'm giving the motor scaling a little bit extra. That makes sense?
Yeah. And I initially was going into this thinking that I think what you just said is correct, that you want to give your PID loop a little bit more authority than you want for throttle. Right?
I was hoping that wasn't because that's
Why?
annoying.
Well, you don't have to, but you can. It depends what you want. It's all about timing. That's the thing. The PID loop gains and magnitude of those gains more has to deal with timing of when it's receiving, because all it's sending is a percentage signal. It's either telling this ESC to run at 0%, up to 100%, and it can tell it anywhere in between. So it's really has to do with when is it telling that's per certain percentage. When there's just a little bit of error, is it spiking and telling it, hey, go to 100% right now, right away? Or if you have just a little bit of P gain to close the gap in the error, then it will, as it starts to get an error, it will say, well, P gain's kind of weak, so it'll be like, man, I'll just go up to 50% right now. Oh, the P gain the error got a little bigger. Now go up to 100%. Whereas if you have a huge P gain in the gains themselves, then as soon as you get a little bit of error, it's going to tell it to go to 100% immediately. So it's not how much it's pushing. Like again, the PID loop can't push the motors. It's basically just saying, how fast am I going to ramp up or ramp down based on what's going on with so it's a timing thing more than anything.
Gotcha.
And I was
See, I never think of it in those terms. I've read that a bunch, but I just don't. I just for whatever reason don't think about it in those terms. It's helpful to hear it explained that way.
Yeah. So if, that's what I was trying to think about with the timing of, if you scale it down, if you scale all your motor scaling down, you are going to lag out the timing, or make the timing of when the signal's getting to the motors take a little bit longer. But that's the same thing that's going to occur when you're moving your PID values down too. So initially, I was going into this conversation, I'm like, no, they're different things. But if you really think about it, I don't think they are. I think they're close to the same thing. You could, if you scale down your motor scaling, that could be equivalent to somewhere as like moving the master multiplier down, because it's really just a timing aspect of it.
Gotcha. Cool. Very, very cool, dude. So yeah, technically the best. Damn, I guess it's not that hard to do. Throwing a quick a quick throttle scale. And I mean, I guess it also really depends if the ESC can handle it. That'd be a really good way to blow an ESC up. Although the PID loop is only going to ask for that 100% like pretty damn quick, right? I guess unless it starts oscillating, right?
Well, what happens, yeah. I mean, when you start to get an oscillation, that means you've actually advanced the timing beyond. You're starting to get a feedback loop on the timing. I want to do some content on that. Like, what is, you keep moving the PID loop gains up, and what happens is eventually we'll get to a spot where the D term will start to oscillate. Well, why? Why does that occur? And I wanted to do something on that to show what's going on there, and it really has to do
really
with
cool.
Yeah, you're starting to hit this natural harmonic on your quad that is just a physical thing. It's more linked to the amount of filtering than it is to anything else. So, yeah, it's interesting stuff. At least from my seat, some people probably don't care.
Most of the people in here care, I think. So this is a good audience. Dude, very cool. Looks like Telama42 is dropping some good questions in the chat, so I'm gonna jump in there. But I'm gonna let you go, dude. Super appreciative of you stopping by. I gotta do this. I gotta figure out how to do this a little bit better, and then I'll browbeat you into doing it again, hopefully.
Yeah, no worries, man. I was just gonna do some editing anyway. So thanks for having me. Bye.
Absolutely. Hey guys, go if you're a patron of mine and you're not a patron of UAV Tech, I'm going to stab you in your sleep. So your choice. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.
Later. Look at me, guys. I did a wait. Is this working? Yeah. Look, I did an internet thing, guys. Are you proud of me? I did internet things. Hold on, I've now made, so I guess I need to make specific scenes for doing this. Okay, let me turn off desktop audio here. And then I'm gonna turn off desktop audio over there. Okay, so now the stream is back to normal. That was pretty dope. Telama, I gotta read some of your chats. I saw you ripping and running in the chat. Let me just scroll up a little bit. Let me just full on get caught up on chat, and then if you guys have questions, I will try my best to talk through. I'm still trying to digest it though, for the record, because I find it a lot easier to think about the P gain as power, because that's the way, like, if you think of it, it's just a much easier way for me to explain it, and it's like, in practice, it's kind of like 99% true and real. Not true, definitely not true, but it's the way the quad acts in the air, you know what I mean? All right. Ruby Tim with a $4.99 for the Bluetooth headphone fund. I'm gonna put that into health insurance. What do you think of that? Thanks, brother. Much appreciated. And then there was you guys helping me troubleshoot it. Thank you for that. Brandon says Ciotti's gonna be an expert eventually. Yeah, eventually is the key word. Okay, here we go. So now we started to get into the really good stuff. So Telama tagged me. He said, it's that for linear time invariant systems under uncertainty, imperfect gyro signals, we want to undershoot so it doesn't drive runaway oscillations. Thus, motor scale to give yourself a little overhead, and then you can actually throttle limit to 94% of that. Right? Yeah, that's what we're. Although, for the record, guys, right? The safest, this is me chasing the dragon, and every time that I've been like, ooh, remember to ask Mark that, I've caught myself and kind of gone like, or don't, because the motor limiting works beautifully, and the PID loop has plenty of authority, and like your rigs fly beautiful, and blah, 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 right? But I don't know, I'm a sucker for punishment, so down the rabbit hole we go. But for 98% of you, just motor scale down. It's going to work totally fine. you're probably going to pick an amount of power that's more than what I choose anyway. So your PID loop is going to have even more authority than mine, etc., etc., etc. But if you want to go off the reservation like me and really chase the dragon, all of what we were saying is basically that. So my setup's 6S, 2400 kV, motor scaled down to 70%, done. That's the safe thing to do. That's what you guys should do. If you want to lose your mind, instead of going down to 70%, only go down to 75% or maybe even 80%. Now the PIDs have access to more horsepower, right? But then on my throttle stick, I don't want that much horsepower, so I'm going to go over into the rates tab and I'm going to throttle scale down to 90%, so that at 100% throttle on my throttle stick on my transmitter, the throttle scaling is actually only going to give me 90%. And then the motor scaling is going to be down another 20 or 25%. What can happen in that case is you can start to get desyncs because the PID loop can potentially ask the ESC for more than it's willing to give. Probably won't happen on a brand new ESC, but after you start crashing and getting voltage spikes and the FETs start to wear on the ESC, that's a thing that can happen. So again, the safe thing to do, and what I might... Now see, I know it. So the safe thing to do is just to motor output limit down and you're done. What I'm probably going to do is bump 70% up to 80%, and then I'm going to throttle limit down to 90, and then I'm going to go out and fly it. And I'm going to put it into hard prop wash, and I'm going to put it into weird situations and blast the throttle really quick to see if I can get it to desync. And if it does desync, or just overload the ESC and just fall out of the sky. It doesn't necessarily have to be a desync. But if it overloads if it falls out of the sky, right, I'm going to do this over grass at my boring church spot. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in and I'm going to take that 90% throttle scale. I'm going to move it up to 95%. I'm going to take that 80% motor limiting and I'm going to move that down to 75%. Right? Get it? And then I'm going to that's going to take a little bit of power away from the PID loop so that hopefully the PID loop doesn't... Although no, I don't want to be that razor's edge. I won't want to be that razor's edge on the ESC. At that point, I'll bail and I'll put the throttle scaling back up to 100%. It's not worth it. It's not worth that last little bit of performance because it's so good already. So yeah, I'm going to do it with that 10% gap, and if that makes the ESC angry, I'm just going to bail on it. But a really good conversation. I wonder. I also don't have... I run AK32 Acon ESCs that are only 35 amps. If I ran the really expensive 55 amp versions, this probably wouldn't be an issue. Although, I don't know, man, even that, like... my ESCs just take abuse, dude. They just get abused. And like, by just doing the motor scaling, the first time that the ESC falls out of the sky, it's time to replace it. You won't be playing this game of like, oh, it fell out of the sky. Let me back things off a little bit with the throttle scaling. I think I would rather... So, because doing that, again, chasing the dragon, like what we're talking about here, it's going to make your ESC fall out of the sky sooner, right? Because you're going to keep crashing and you're going to accumulate that damage to the FETs and whatnot. And I don't want that. I don't want it to fall out of the sky until the absolute last possible moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to try... It's not worth the little bit of extra performance for me to chase the dragon with this and have it fall out of the sky a month from now versus just motor scaling down and having it fall out of the sky 2 months from now. Because reliability is more important than... Reliability is not more important than performance, but the performance is already phenomenally good. And taking a little bit of a hit in reliability is not worth it. but it was a cool conversation. I'm still gonna try it. I am gonna try it, but I'm probably going to bail on it after I try it to see if there's any. Well, see, that's the other thing. Without black box, I'm probably not gonna be able to tell a difference because my rigs really don't. They just don't prop wash. I mean, if I really try hard, I can get them to, and I guess maybe that could get a little bit better, but interesting. Very interesting. Let me actually get caught up on the chat now that I'm done with that tangent. Talama says, or if you have other axes demanding it at the same time, or you're at motor saturation already commanding the motor to idle or max. Yeah, see, that's the other thing too. Like, I could already be saturating the damn motors with the scaling where it's at. Rocksteady says, or UAV Tech is motor scaling negated when you turtle mode. Oh. That's a really good question. I hope not. It's definitely negated when you go into the motors tab and you spin your motors up on the motors tab. It's definitely negated there, which is a problem. You got to be careful with that. If you're going to do this 2400 kV on 6S thing, and you go into the motors tab, here's the thing though, there's no reason in the motors tab to ever go up to 100%. None of the vibes happen at 100%. They happen in the middle. So you should never be going to 100% in the motors tab anyway, but definitely don't if you're using the motor scaling. And here's the other thing too, with turtle mode, you should never be bashing the stick full deflection in turtle mode. There's no reason to do that. That's a really good way to blow up your ESC. Turtle mode, you should be just using the tiniest little, like you guys see me do it. Like you don't want to burp and have it jumping. Like just take a breath when you get into turtle mode and just really slowly move the stick out, and then you can and pull yourself over. It'll also help if the propeller is blocked. You won't be sending the propeller full power. You'll push the stick nice and slowly, and you'll hear the propeller go dig, dig, as it bounces against something that it's. This is how you don't blow up your ESC, but you use turtle mode all the time. Is that you don't just with the right thumbstick in turtle mode. You just be very, very, very gentle with it, and you have to be like crazy gentle because there's a big dead spot. I wish it wasn't like that, but who am I? Prometheus says power signal. You mean that was at 10:41. That was 9 minutes ago. I'm not sure what we were talking about. Oh, yeah, not actual power. Yep. B-Man tagged me and didn't say. So the takeaway is if you're motor limited to 70%, what should you be dropping the motor scaling to make the loop happier? To give the PID loop more power, so to speak, you should. Well, I think I already answered that question, B-Man. Ask it again if I haven't, but I think I think you're probably good to go by now. I'm like 9 minutes behind. Dauntless says, explain to me how a 3 to 6S 25 amp AIO can blow up a channel on the 3S rig that can only barely pull 20 amps total. Because many ESCs are garbage is the legit answer. Rocksteady says, is throttle scaling still active when you turtle mode? Still trying to figure that one out. I'm hoping maybe Mark is still in here. I don't think he is though, but that's okay. I bet you it's not. I bet you it isn't. But again, just don't ever use, there's just absolutely no reason to ever use full stick. Well, you know what? I can test it. I'm going to test it right now because that's a really good question and I'm very, very curious. So I've got one glide with the 2400s scaled down, and I've got another with the 1850s. They're both scaled down the same amount. So if I take a propeller off each one and we'll fire up turtle mode to full power and we'll just listen, and we can just listen to the to the difference. It'll be very obvious if there's a difference between these two. And what's nice is these two are both motor scaled to roughly have the same amount of power. So let's see. This is going to be a little sketch, but we'll be all right. It's going to thrust itself into the ground. So if I accidentally hit one of the other propellers, but we're going to be good. So this is the rig that's on 2400s. I'm even going to bust out the goggles because I want to make sure that I do this test properly. I'm going to go into the OSD and just make sure that it's motor scaled down the right amount. All right, let's see. Oh, this is good because I need to get this shit out anyway to put it on the charger. All right. Mainly though, I want to know the answer to this, and it's not hard to test it. So, yeah. Okay, so this is probably gonna make the mic go nuts. So let me put it over here, and I'm gonna need these because I want to check in the OSD just to make sure. Okay, cool. Fire in the hole. I am gonna put a rag over the other propellers. Just in case I hit in the wrong direction with the transmitter. Okay, so this is the 2400 kV rig. Let me check in the OSD to make sure that it's motor scaled down to 70%. So here we go. Feature, oh no, it's not features, it's profile, miscellaneous PP, and okay, cool. Motor output limit is at 70%. So save and exit, and I'm gonna go hit RX. Why? Oh no, we're good. So I'm gonna go into turtle mode. I'm going to arm, and now it's the right front. All right, so this is the 2400 kV. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it, but I'm going to be able to hear it. So I'm just going to blast it. All right, I think you guys can probably hear that. So that's a pitch. We just need to remember that pitch. Unplug real quick. So it's kind of like a wah, wah kind of pitch. Now I'm going to plug this guy in. And I'm going to check the motor scaling. Oh, god damn it. What I'm actually going to do is plug this into Betaflight and change the OSD from NTSC to PAL because Cadix tries to make me drink myself to death by putting all of their cameras in PAL for no reason. And then your OSD doesn't work. Let me get that going here. I'm still not caught up on the chat, for the record, guys, so if you're typing things, I can't see it. OSD... Oh, come on. NTSC over to PAL, save, and disconnect. All right, so that one was like a wee, wee. It was like that sound, wee. All right. Hey, look, OSD. Isn't that like, oh god, why? Oh, because it was still in turtle mode. Jesus Christ. Okay, wait, hold on. Nothing happened. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Wow. Okay, so that was interesting. We're gonna talk about that in a second. We are gonna talk about that in a second. I just learned something. Motor output limit, 80%. Okay, that's what we want. Save and exit. And we're going to go to turtle mode. Armed. All right. Same exact thing. So it motor scales down the turtle mode. More importantly, here's something. It was fine because, and this is why I'm willing to do this with turtle mode, because it'll only ever thrust down. But if you, come on, if you leave your arm switch up, and if you leave your turtle mode switch on, and you plug a rig in, it's live. It is live on the right thumbstick. Make sense? So I wish that was not the case. That's not the way regular arming works, right? If you plug in a quad and you're armed, it doesn't, nothing matters. You have to disarm and then rearm. But apparently turtle mode does not function by those same rules. And that's important because, yeah, that spun the that spun the right front motor when I didn't expect it to. I just pushed the stick just to see, and it and I was like, whoa. Okay, so now that we figured that out, that's really good that it scales the turtle mode. That's very smart of Betaflight to have done that. So it looks like the only thing that it doesn't scale is the motors tab. And I kind of want to test that too while we're at it. Because I'm pretty sure it doesn't scale it, but I'm actually not 100% sure. Let's test it. We'll test it with motor 2. And then I'll get caught up on chat. I swear. Plugging in the lower KV rig and putting a battery on it. And we're just gonna have to do the same thing. We're just gonna have to like listen. So here comes Betaflight, and we're gonna connect, and we're gonna go to motors. Understand the risks, and just really gently make sure it's the right motor. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just listen. Wah! It's that same pitch. All right. So we're good. And now this one is gonna spin up way higher, I think. Let's find out. That was the 1850 kV rig. This is the 2400 kV rig. And close. We're going to go to the motors tab. Understand. Just ever so gently make sure it's the right motor. Okay, good. Ready? Listen. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's too high. Yeah, okay, so it definitely doesn't scale it. Got it. But again, absolutely no reason to ever move your motor sliders in the motor tab up to 100%. That accomplishes nothing. It's just stupid, so don't do it. And you won't have to worry about this. Cool, turtle mode is motor scaled. That's really good. Man, this motor got hot just from that little blast. I put 11 billion RPM into it. You believe there's people that run 6S 2400s, like, just go for it? Go for it, go for it. All right, Moon Goat is back together. And where'd the other one go? Here it is. With the big old... Oh, I guess I can take these props off now. Yeah, I can take these props off now. That's cool. Wish I'd thought of that before. I almost killed myself. Although I didn't. It just spun up the... it just went... Blah, blah, blah. Okay, getting caught up on chat. Here we go. Talama says, those AK-32 pin ESCs are fairly solid. I abuse those on 2350 kV 6S. Good Lord, Talama, you're one of those people that that runs it at 100%? Good, my God. Oh, for racing. 20, and also he runs 2750 kV on 5S for racing. They still party. Not smart, but they hold. 48k PWM, 20% ramp up, 23 degrees timing. I don't change a thing in BL Heli. Salama, do you do that so that they don't fall out of the sky? Like, do you have to do those BL heli settings so they don't fall out of the sky? I've actually gone down I've gone back down to 24K on the PWM for a little bit more braking. It helps with the off throttle wobble. Dauntless says, after only 3 weeks of flying 2, come on JHE MCU, you can do better. Apparently JHE MCU is less reliable than Beta FPV, and Beta FPV is not all that reliable. So there's your problem, unfortunately. The first run of JHE MCU stuff seems pretty good, but then after that, the quality control really seemed to fall on its face, which some people have been talking about that like kind of being a strategy at this point, like make your first run, like just spend more time and money on your first run, hook everybody, and then run the subsequent runs, just half-ass it. You've already got everybody hooked, and you can just sell them more and more and more blown up shit. And then by the time they catch on, our tech has changed, right? Because it changes every 4 days. And you don't even have to worry about it anymore. You just roll out a new item and the whole cycle starts all over again. That total conjecture, totally like just a guess, but that certainly seems like what's happening. Neil Kamara says, you mentioned reliability. I'm extremely impressed with the SpeedX GS45A 4-in-1 since I've crashed my drone more than 100 times. It's my first drone and still the same parts. I actually blew one of those up. I was looking... it looked like a good ESC, and I ran it, and it blew up like pretty quick, like within a couple months. And then that was when I moved over to the Acons, and they've just been totally bulletproof. So maybe I just got a bad one. Maybe it was just a nasty crash. Any number of things could have caused that to blow up. But previous to the SpeedX 45, I'd blown up 3 of the SpeedX 35 amps in a row. So that was just kind of the last straw for me. I said, to hell with it, I'm going to Acon. Actually, what I did at that point is I messaged Corey, and I was like, dude, have you found an ESC that doesn't blow up to big crashes yet? And he's like, yeah, the Acons are the only ones. I was like, okay. And that's when I started running those. And they've been totally just phenomenal. Athix says, run high boost or low boost on a car. That is the question. Performance versus reliability / sustainability. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's definitely a way to think about it. Chat just did the thing. Scrolling back up. Oh, that's interesting. Riot 9 says scale 1 to 1%. Yeah, that would have made it a lot easier just now, but I could still hear the difference. Z says, I have a wicked prototype super stiff race frame. I've been speed running on Newbie Drone Infinity 200 20x20 that I'm running on 6S Zing 2450s. Good lord. And I'm working up. Oh, here, I caught up. Rocksteady says, I burned a 4S motor on 6S scaled down after using turtle mode. Well, I mean, I can tell you for absolute certain that it was scaled down in turtle mode. Turtle mode is hard on motors if you just go banging the sticks into the corners. Like, that's just a known fact. So I would more blame maybe just being a little too... The problem is when a prop is stuck and you blast the stick over in turtle mode, even though you do it quickly, it just dumps onto that one motor, and electric motors hate being stuck like that. So it just creates this tremendous voltage spike. And yeah, it's really, really, really hard on the ESCs. So yeah, I think it was just a bad timing, or you could have blown it up in the crash itself, right? When you had the crash that got it stuck, that's when a lot of stress occurs on the ESC. So that would be my guess. The crash itself hurt the ESC, and then when you went to turtle mode, you pushed it off the edge of the cliff. Rocksteady says, that's great advice about going slow on the sticks. I just try to match the right motor KV with the right battery voltage these days. Yeah, that's the safer way to do it. That is definitely the safer way to do it. But I've been doing this 2400 kV 6S thing for 6 months, and it's yet to do anything. Nothing has failed. And I'm not like super regimented with stuff. Like I've accidentally run that thing at 100% before, and I've purposefully turned it from like 70 to 80 to 85 to 90% just to see what noises it would make. So it is doable. But yeah, totally safe. It's definitely safer to do to get the proper KV for 6S. But I'm never going to do that again because the 2400 thing is just been amazing. Vicious Stitch is saying, what's up? Crunked is in the house. What's up, brother? Forevermore says, what it do? Vicious Stitch is watching. Do dumb shit for your learning pleasure. B-Man says, use a pre-arm and you won't have that problem. So the pre-arm works with turtle mode. That's pretty cool. Crunk says, this is why I use warnings on my radio. It won't output signal until arm is disarmed. That's a good idea. I'm pretty shocked that I've never realized. I've been using turtle mode for the whole time it's been available. So what's that, like a year and a half at least? And I've never had that happen before. I've just never had that situation. Yeah, because I always disarm it. Interesting that this is the first time after so long with turtle mode that I've noticed that. Remy Tim says the low KV quad actually had a barely slightly higher pitch, which even further proves that motor scaling affects turtle mode. Yeah, right. I don't have a motor scaled perfectly. And yeah, I mean, I think you guys could probably hear it when I moved it, when I went on the 2400 kV 6S rig in the motor tab. When I went to 100%, like I don't know what actually comes through on the mic, but here, like, there's no questioning it. I already knew that because at some point I'd been in that motors tab and I'd moved one of those sliders up to 100%, and the noise that I heard was like ridiculous. So like I already kind of knew the answer to that, which is why I've been telling you guys the answer to it, but I'd never actually A-B'd it. Yeah. And the amount of chaos that came out of that in the motors tab, there was not that chaos in turtle mode, like at all. So yeah, we're good. Rocksteady says, thanks, I was using 1404, 4600. Whoa! 4600. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, you're good. That scaling down is good. What ESC, out of curiosity? Talama says, breaking torque loss on 48K is real. Thrust linear helps some, but yeah, running abusive setups tends to be happier on 48K. Medium high timing and a bit less ramp up startup. Yeah, I don't really like thrust linear because it just adds more and more and more thrust, and that's not what I want. I want the opposite of that. Like when I'm zero throttle, I want like no thrust. Where I really notice it is with building dives. With thrust linear turned on a building dive, I have to look down into the building a lot more. So when you're coming down, like with 24K, you can pretty much look straight down, which is it just looks really good. And the aerodynamic effect of the rig being, so the air is pushing it. This is not for you, Talam. I'm sure you know this. This is just for everybody else. The angle that the rig is at, the air coming straight up deflects, and then it wants to pull itself towards the building, right? The building is here. But then the propellers at zero throttle, even on 24K, no matter what, right? They're making a little bit of thrust, so they want to pull it away. So when you're doing a building dive with 24K and no thrust linear, it just looks right to me. When I went to 48K with thrust linear to control the throttle chop bobble, what I noticed is I would have to start to point in more towards the building to increase this angle and give it more push into the building because it was spinning the propellers harder because of the thrust linear to control itself, and because there's less braking force. And I just don't like the way that looks. You end up filling the frame with the building, and then you just, on the top of the frame, you just have like this little sliver of the ground, and that just, it just doesn't look right to me. So yeah, I'm back onto 24, and I gotta be honest, on 24, the performance, I mean, you were just looking at it, like the opening video, the moon goat's on 24, and it's fine. The motors aren't getting hot. I got the PID gain jacked up. It prop washes a little tiny bit when I specifically put it into prop wash, but when I'm just flying, it doesn't, and that's kind of all I care about. like putting it into prop wash and deleting all the prop wash, yeah, that's great and all, but in normal flying, you don't like specifically try. That's just not a situation that you really put a rig into. It just doesn't really look right, usually. And yeah, the prop wash that I get in those situations is minimal. So yeah, everything's a balance. Everybody has a specific set of things that they do when they fly, and that's what should guide how they tune and whether they run 24 or 48, right? Like, just 48K for life is just not the answer, right? Like that just makes no sense. It's not, we have the ability to tune these things and to set these things up perfectly for our flight style, where we fly, how we fly, all that stuff, right? So this like just 48K or nothing, it just makes no sense. Because like me, for example, it's not better for me. Like it is markedly worse for me, and it makes my flying look worse and the footage that I get look worse. And you know, what the hell's the point? Like, why do that? That's the opposite of why we tune, right? The whole point of spending your time tuning is to be able to set your shit up perfectly for you, right? That's the only reason to tune. If you don't care about that, then like specifically don't tune, because you're just wasting time. So yeah, and I think that concept gets lost a lot of times, and we have a, I mean, just in general, we have a tendency to talk in absolutes, right? But it's important to yeah, I don't know. Forevermore says path of least resistance is the ESC in the chain. I'm assuming. Oh man, I'm like 20 plus minutes behind. I'm assuming that was. I don't know what we were talking about back then. CMYK FPV is in the house. YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. Oh, I'm not that far behind. Perry Earl can confirm pre-arm works on turtle mode. Awesome. Cool. I keep pre-arm on my momentary along with turning air mode off. Oh, that's cool. I never thought about doing that. I use the momentary for the onboard timer, so that wouldn't really work for me. But that's really good to know. CMYK says, stuck on a receiver tab issue. All of my input numbers are 70 points over and under, causing it to not arm. 1000 is 1071. Any ideas what has changed to cause this? Wow, that's really weird, CMYK FPV. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter what's changed. You just have to fix it, and you're going to fix it in the output tab of OpenTX. That's really weird. When the hell did that happen? Did that just like happen overnight? That's weird, dude. That doesn't make any sense to me. Rocksteady FPV says Newbie Drone Infinity 200. Okay. I forget what we were talking about. Oh, the ESC that blew up. The ESC that blew up. If you bought that ESC in like the middle of the year last year, there was some weirdness with Newbie Drone quality control towards the middle of the year last year. Word on the street is they switched to a different manufacturer for a short period of time. That's just that's just rumors. So that maybe might had something to do with it. Maybe not. ESCs blow up all the time though, unfortunately. It's just super annoying. Forevermore says, I run 10-degree tilt, so I dive like a knife. Don't you find that pulls you off the side of the building though, Forevermore? It certainly does for me. If I don't look into the building enough, I just get pulled out off of it. But I do run pretty high P gains, so everything's related. Dauntless says, if I speed up into the wind and chop my throttle, my toothpick literally glides through the air because of the PID tune feeling barfy. Really fun to glide around at 0 throttle. Barfy, that's great. Mark says, don't you bag on 48K, you'll anger the grunt. YouTube did the thing again. Damn it. There we go. And then Z says, you made an absolute while joking about speaking in absolutes. Did I really? It doesn't surprise me at all. Hey, caught up on chat. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. Damn, dude. Yesterday's live chat had some really good info in it. This live chat's had some really good info in it. As I look over, we just hit 2 hours, and we've done nothing that I said we were going to do. In the title of the live stream. So I'm going to do the lazy thing. I'm just going to change the title of the stream. Maybe not. We did talk about the Ripsqueak Micro. We did talk about the Acrobrat. We did talk about the 3-inch folding. I'm going to leave it alone. Word FPV says, when do you say, let me see if 24K or 48K is the problem or the solution? I don't really think you have to do that, Word FPV, to be really honest with you. I think the decision of 24K versus 48K is basically, does the throttle chop bobble? And what I mean by that is when you go full throttle and then you chop the throttle to 0 as quickly as you can, pretty much no matter what, the quad is going to have a little bit of a wobble. On 24K, it's going to have a little bit less of a wobble than on 48K. This wobble happens every time you chop the throttle quickly. Some people don't slam the throttle down really quickly, and they have less of an issue with this. I am not one of those people. When I want to jump off the throttle, I want that throttle gone immediately, because I'm usually initiating some sort of a movement, and I want as little throttle as possible as I'm making that movement. If I'm full throttle and I slowly pull down on the throttle as I'm turning it like this, it's going to give it a bunch of sideways momentum, and that is not what I want. Usually I've in typical situations where I'm full throttle, a lot of times I'm throwing it at a gap, and I don't want, and when I rotate the thing sideways to start an inversion, I want it to do that with as little throttle as possible, because any throttle that's on is going to pull it this way, right? So I chop the throttle really sharply when I do this kind of stuff. So for me, 24K is worth it, is worth the sacrifice in, well, yeah, there's just a sacrifice. I'm not going to dive into that because that's like another 20-minute conversation. But 24K means it has less of a bobble when I jump off the throttle, and I'm a person that, like I said, jumps off the throttle really quick. So for me, that's kind of, I think that's kind of the only real reason to choose 24K. I mean, that's the only reason that I went back to 24K. Yeah, I think that's really the only reason. Like, you should just run 48. It runs cooler. It's more efficient. It has more throttle. It's better in almost every way except for this one thing. So I guess that's what it is. If the throttle chop bobble drives you completely insane, then try 24. You're not going to see a huge difference. It's pretty subtle, but it's there. It's there for sure. Here's the other reason. If you find yourself diving things, and you want to be able to look more straight down, that's the other reason to run 24. Because it's going to give it you're going to have more braking. 661 FPV incorrectly says Emu Flight doesn't do any of those things, LOL. It most certainly does, because Emu Flight is Beta Flight with some stuff added on top. So yeah, all of these things are absolutely 100% applicable to Emu Flight. Emu Flight doesn't have anything specifically built in to deal with the throttle chop bobble, so it's not going to deal with it any better than Beta Flight. Beta Flight 4.3 is going to introduce something that will deal with it better, and then Beta Flight will be better at dealing with this than Emu Flight. which is that they are combining. Currently, anti-gravity only uses I-term, but the devs have built in P-gain to anti-gravity, and that's going to help with this issue. So yeah, on Betaflight 4.3, it'll deal with throttle chop bobble better than any other firmware. So yeah. Talama says you might have success with dynamic idle and lowering the D-shot idle, but if you have something that works, that dragon is not worth chasing. Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for. I mean, I use the dynamic idle already. I didn't really see much of a difference. I mean, I'm sure it's doing something. I'm not familiar with D-shot idle though. D-shot idle. What the hell is that? Is that in BL Heli? I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Or maybe I haven't, I just can't think of it. BeepTube says PWM related to zero throttle wobbles are continuous and just happen at zero throttle regardless of how fast or slow you drop the throttle. Pretty common on larger quads. BeepTube, I think you're more talking about a lack of authority at zero throttle. Because the throttle chop bobble has to do with backflow. It only really happens as bad as it happens from full throttle to nothing, because at full throttle you're hammering forward, and then when you go to zero throttle, the props slow down so quickly that there's all this forward momentum, and there's a backflow that occurs over the propellers, and that's what causes the instability. Apparently, this is what I've heard from people that are much smarter than me. So yeah, I think what I think you're talking about something that's a little bit different. When you say it's common on larger quads, that makes me think that it's even more that, because large quads don't have anywhere near as good of response time as 5-inch rigs. And the reason why 5-inch rigs have such good response time is just because the development cycle has been so deep and like long, and that's what she said. Eventually those big quads, they'll find the motors that give proper response time, and that problem, I'll bet you, will go away. 661 says, I run the same PIDs on my 2.5 and my 5 with Emu Flight, and I can't even believe it, but it does. You would have to build two completely identical rigs, 661, and you would have to back them. But don't bother. Mark says KISS doesn't either. Oh well, I guess it does only when Rotor Riot flies it. I've not. I'm just keeping my mouth shut about that episode. I haven't seen that episode, but some people have messaged me some things about that episode, and I've decided to just not. I'm just not going to throw stones. I'm just going to move on. Drone Pilot says, I run my 7-inch rigs at 48 simply because it gives me that extra range, and that's only on long range, not anything that I can do acro with. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, cool. Caught up on chat. We're a little over 2 hours. Let's at least... No, I talked about all the things in the moving on, exactly. I talked about all the things in the title. But I do want to swap these motors over. So let's do something at the bench. I can desolder these 1804s. I got a little bit more time here. Kristen, how you doing? Hold on, let me check with Kristen. She's been working really hard. If she's done working, I am actually going to bail and spend some time with her. But I bet you she's not. How you doing work? All right, boys and girls. We've got 20 more minutes. Let's see what we can get done. That girl's been working her ass off for the last week with one of her clients, and it is done. Tonight's the night. She got that shit knocked out, and so yeah. All right, hanging up these stupid headphones that didn't even work anyway. BeepTube says, I guess we're talking about different things then. Yeah, that happens with tuning, man. It's there are just so many different things that are happening all at once. It's really hard to, and I might be totally wrong for the record, but that's just what it sounds more like to me. But again, what do I know? Jason Crabtree says that TPO on the tips of the arms keeps getting smaller. Yeah, Jason, it always does. But then I add to it. You can add back to it. But yeah, they do take a hell of a beating. That's what you get when you want to fly really low to the ground, though. Gotta pay to play. Yeah, let's do a little bit of bench work. We're just gonna knock some stuff out, and a couple of good streams here, man. Some really good info. Thanks again, Mark, for coming on. That was super helpful. I'm actually gonna re-watch this episode and re-listen to that because it helps me. I mean, when you're streaming, you're kind of like on a little bit, and it makes fully understanding things a little bit more difficult. All right, here we go. These 1804s are coming off of here, so I might as well just zip these ducts off. And since I'm turning the throttle, I almost said throttling iron. Oh boy. CiottiFPV is drinking Crisco. What? YouTube? What does that mean? I'm not drinking. What am I doing? I'm unscrewing the motor, not the duct. Let's get it together. I feel yeah, right, Mark. It's streams are it's weirdly mentally taxing to do a live stream and like be energetic and like rip through questions, and I actually really like that. I really I don't know, call me a sadist maybe, but I've always really enjoyed the I'm sure it's not just me. I've always enjoyed the feeling of being exhausted after like a good session of working. I've worked for a number of companies that have taken advantage of that, which is a shame. But yeah, good doing good work and working hard feels really good. So it's interesting. Like I'm always exhausted, but at the same time it just, yeah, it's like fuck yeah, we did something good here today. But it is exhausting, man. Like it's just, yeah, it's a lot. More so than I ever thought. And like when I watch it's cool though to understand that. Like when I watch other streamers, it's like I respect them that much more. Because yeah, I mean it's the long and short of it is that it's a performance. Like it's a legitimate performance. Like it which is something that I talked to my therapist a good amount about. Which is that like in my life, like I just continue to pick hobbies, pick interests, be interested in things that are performance based. From like playing drums in front of people to playing race cars to yeah, I don't know. It's just fun. Although wait, is everything performance based? I don't know. Maybe not. Watching TV is not performance based. There we go. Let me take these propellers off. Forevermore, don't tell me how to run my life. Okay. There we go. Let's get these guys off of here. Oh, BeepTube says it looks like you were drinking cooking oil. No. Where is it? Where did it even go? Since I'm an eco-Nazi, we well, also because our tap water has a lot of chlorine in it, we save. We buy juice every time we go to the store in these bottles here, and then we fill these bottles up from the tap, and we have like 5 of these that are always in rotation. We fill them up from the tap to right here so that it's got the maximum surface water area, and then we line them up, and the chlorine boils off at room temperature. You just got to give it time. So we've got like a rotation of like 5 of these that we put our water in, and then we take one from the front, and the rest of them move together, and we put it in the refrigerator, and then we drink out of them. It also saves from having to do dishes, because you just drink right out of this. Can you tell I'm the one that does the dishes? Lazy man figures it all out. As we do. License to Drive says there's a TV show here in the UK called Googlebox. It's performance-based TV watching. It's a show about watching people watching TV. It's as tragic as it sounds. Tragic. That's such a mean word for it, but probably accurate. All right, cool. So I'm gonna zap these motors off with the soldering iron once I get these props off, and then we're gonna move over to this CB 2.5. We're gonna swap, at least start to swap those motors, and then I'm probably gonna bail halfway through it. But this only takes a second, and this will encourage me to do the Acrobrat. Maybe tomorrow. My plans for tomorrow night into Saturday got canceled. So yeah, we'll have a no. Tomorrow's gonna be 5-inch Friday. I gotta do some 5-inch work tomorrow. So maybe Saturday. Maybe Saturday we'll bang out the Acrobrat. That's what she said. Come on. I'm not reading all of the chat, but I think you guys are being civil. It seemed to get a little spicy in there for a minute, but I think you guys have calmed down. I hope. No hard feelings. Don't believe me. This hobby is not worth disagreements and getting pissed off. It's just a hobby. It's all good. Everybody has their preferences. The data doesn't lie. I will say that. But, yeah, it's okay to have preferences. And the other thing is that, I mean, I don't know. The RPM filtering in Betaflight really, like, that is really the game changer for me, because it just gives a bigger tuning window, and it just allows me to fly home on, like, the most ridiculous obliterated propellers and motors, and that's a really big deal for me, and I think it's a big deal for everybody, but it just doesn't get talked about much. But at the same time, if that's not a big deal for you, then maybe Betaflight is, then yeah, so it's the other firmwares definitely do feel different, and like, if that feel is more important to you, right, than the ability to fly home on banged up stuff, or have a bigger tuning window, or have feed forward available to you, or iTerm relax, or right, all these other things that Betaflight does really, really well, then yeah, don't run Betaflight for sure. Definitely don't run Betaflight. But I think for most of us, the feature set that Betaflight has ticks more of the boxes in terms of things that should be important.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Look at this shirt that Kristen got
You can't say that this
today.
is incredible
You gotta get close.
shirt ever.
There
Right?
you go.
Like, come on. It's hilarious. I don't know why it's giraffe,
Kristen Ciotti, ladies and gentlemen.
but I needed it. Alright, goodbye.
AI taking over this stuff. Not gonna happen, I don't think. Maybe though. Maybe. How you doing in there? All right, cool. I will listen for the TV as my signal to bail. As I usually do. Oh, wrong camera. Where'd you get that, honey?
They're an Instagram account like that talk about depressed dinosaurs, but if you go to shopdinosaurs.com.
Shopdinosaurs.com.
There's a ton of other ones, and they're just hilarious. And they're just all dinosaurs. They talk about mental health stuff and depression. That's where I found them on Instagram. And they have merch. And I honestly don't know why it's a giraffe. I think that's why he says shit's fucked, because it's a dinosaur account and he's a giraffe.
I can see that.
He's like, oh fuck, I'm a giraffe.
Half-board. Wait, you have the same shirt, half-board?
It's so
really?
good. It's so
that's
good.
ridiculous. I have another one too. Wow, that's ridiculous. Wow, the internet is a scary place. Somebody else has this shirt. Talama, you missed a really big opportunity there. Talama says, Aaron, where's your matching giraffe sweater? What Talama should have said is, where's your llama sweater, right? Because, Talama, giraffe, llama, right? No, it's just me being a fucking nerd. Vicious Stitches says, wifey shirt is awesome. My wife's favorite animal is a giraffe. I'll have to get her one too. Now you know the website, Vicious. Z says, where I need one. Now you are good to go.
Shop Dinosaurs.
What is it again?
I think it's shopdinosaurs.com.
Shopdinosaurs.com. If it's not that, then Google will hook you up, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'll find it.
Forevermore says, have a good night, good stream, had fun, learned something, awesome, brother. Huff19 just finished third and final goat, yep, with the FPV Cycle 5-inch motors while listening to this to the knowledge. Awesome, Huff. And I'm caught up. Look at me go. All right, cool. On your mama. Right. Okay, let's zap these 1804s off of here, and then we will move over to the CV2.5. The hell was that? Get out of my way. You're in my way, little fella. You're in my way. I love you, but you're in my way. Okay. Let me make this a little bit easier on myself and not be lazy. Zap, zap, zippity, zap. It was a combination of Frank and somebody else that, at some point, they didn't really guilt trip me into it, but they mentioned, once or twice, use Flux, why are you not using Flux? It was just out of total laziness that I'd stopped using my Flux pen, because I gotta tell you, it's so hard. Oh, I gotta switch scenes. It's so hard to go like this and then grab the Flux pen. It's all the way up there. It's very, very difficult. God damn it, Vicious. Just rewind. Shop Dinosaurs? Shopdinosaurs.com. Maybe. That might not be it.
Hold on. Confirming.
Now she's looking it up. Look what you did. You made her have to look it up. That's okay. Z says some of these hit hard. What, on the website?
Dinosaur singular.
Shop Dinosaur? Shop Dinosaur singular. Yeah, it's all good, Fishes. It's a mental health Instagram page, so there's some reality on there, especially if you're a fellow mental illness sufferer. But that's a good thing. If those of us that have it really have to push ourselves to be normal, functioning members of society, and that sucks sometimes, but it's important.
The Instagram is Dinos and Comics.
Dinos and Comics is the Instagram page.
It's so funny. It's
It's really, really
shit
good.
About depression and mental health. And
Yeah.
It makes you just laugh.
Yeah, very, very real stuff.
Very dry.
Very dry is right. Yeah, very dry. But I don't know. People with mental illness tend to be pretty dry because their whole life is pain. I wish that wasn't so fucking true, but whatever. Alright, so here we go. Look how nicely this melts with the nice solder penned up boogers. I also like to just come back in with these race wires real quick and just zoop, zip, zoop, and it also burns off a little bit more of the flux, which is good. Our flux is a little bit caustic because it's an acid, but we beat stuff up so badly that it really doesn't matter. It only affects like on the super long term. So if you're building a rig to last 100 years, you would want to think about it. But I mean, don't do that. That's a fool's errand. Try to build a rig to last 100 years because in 4 days all the tech is going to be 1,000 times better anyway. Mark, if you're still in here, any word on when 4.3 is coming? I put it on something. You know what? It might be on the Moon Goat. I think I put the unstable version of 4.3 on the Moon Goat. That would probably explain why the Moon Goat was not throttle chop bobbling as bad as the Glide today. That's, yeah, better late than never realizing that one. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. I just thought it was because the Moon Goat is an absolutely brand new fresh rig, because absolutely brand new fresh rigs always fly spectacular. But I've got my same tune on it as I have on everything else, so it makes absolutely no sense why it would have better performance when coming off the throttle there. So there you go. There's a motorless Cinesplorer. Isn't that the most exciting thing you've ever seen? This is, as we talked about yesterday, in case you weren't here, this is going to get a set of Tommy's God 2004s in 3500 kV whenever Tommy gets those prototypes in. So we shall put this somewhere else. Let me throw this mount on it though, just so that everything is in the same spot. And then I'll move on to something else. Oh, I remember this GoPro holder being a pain in the ass. Because you gotta like go through here, but then the front ones are kind of tough. No date on 4.3 yet. Thanks, Mark. Have you been? What are your impressions on 4.3? Can you tell the difference in the anti-gravity? I haven't tuned it at all. To be honest, I kind of I just sort of admitted that I forgot that I even put it on there. But any thoughts? I feel like that's the big thing in 4.3. I don't feel like there's any. I read something about it somewhere. Oh no, I watched your video, Mark, talking about it, and it seemed to me, at least, there were all kinds of things, but for me, that was the one thing that jumped out that I was really excited about, which is why I jumped the gun and put the unstable release of it on. But I'm wondering if there's anything else that's kind of jumping out at you that you're seeing some real marked performance improvements from. Since that's what I tend to, oh, I'm stupid. I shouldn't have been doing that with the WIHA driver. Yeah, I kind of try not to go super deep into the weeds, and just kind of keep it not surface level, but I try to talk about the stuff that makes big differences that, because those are the things that I try to spend my time on. It's an interesting meta, man, in this hobby. It's a very interesting meta between like being technical versus being versus like where do you spend your time, right? Editing, flying, the technical stuff. It's something that I get a really big kick out of seeing. Now that we've got people in the hobby now that we've had people in the hobby for 4, 5, 6 years, it's really interesting to me to see like where each individual person has put their time and like what they're really good at. It's something that happens to me with most hobbies because I tend to get really carried away with hobbies. I don't tend to get carried away. I do get incredibly carried away with hobbies. No, you know what? The CB 2.5 isn't even. Oh, but I'm not gonna put them onto this because I gotta swap the base plate. All right, no, that's fine. I was gonna solder these motors to the Acrobrat real quick, but I would rather swap the base plate without the motors on it. Yeah, it's just super interesting to see that, and I pick these hobbies where I get really obsessed with them and I stay with them for 5+ years, yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting, just one of those things. It's cool to see. Let me just throw these in here and then we will move on. Those are motor screws. What should I do with those? Should I put them back in the motors? Do we have time for that? Not really. 65 awesome people hanging out. Thanks, guys. Very cool of you. Oh, I haven't sold you any car insurance yet. CiottiFPV.com is a website that you can go to and click a bunch of buttons if you want me to keep doing this full time, as I have been for coming up on a year now. I need everybody's help. This is a group project of help Ciotti do this full time. There's not a ton of money in FPV, but there's just enough. So if you like what you're seeing and you want more, well, not more, but the same amount, basically, yeah, I need everybody to help out. That help could be just clicking an affiliate link before you buy yourself something. That could be hanging out in the chat and clicking the thumbs up button and subscribing and do the things that YouTube likes. Or if you want to be a super ultra rock star and you can afford a couple extra dollars, you can join my Patreon. You can go over to Teespring and buy a t-shirt or a mug or a sweatshirt. You can go over to Fiverr and hire me to help you fly better or tune better or spec out your builds better. Or you can go over to the Etsy store and I've got a whole bunch of really cool stickers. So yeah, just if you don't mind, just do something. Just do anything. Pick one of those things and do it. And then you will be a part of something really cool, which is, me continuing to bring you guys good content, I guess, right? Is the long and short of it. And keep sort of chasing the dream to see where it takes me, man. I have high hopes that there's a real bright future for pilots in the for FPV pilots in the film industry. I think that once the script writers and the creatives realize that we can relatively safely put a camera anywhere at any speed, that the demand for FPV pilots might really take off. And that could be really cool. Like, the possibilities are definitely there. And hopefully along the way we don't get shut down by the FAA. But it doesn't look like we are. It looks like we're actually in pretty good shape when it comes to that. So just keep those fingers and toes crossed. Fingers and toes crossed, I guess. All right. Just want to make sure these. Just don't want to have to put these screws back away and then get them back out. It's just annoying. So yeah, you guys got me for probably about another 10 or so minutes. Fill up the chat with whatever questions you want to hit me with. Make sure you tag me by typing CiottiFPV. And yeah, get them in before I sign off here. Mark is out of here. Thanks for hanging, Mark. Very, very cool. Talama says, yes, it's better. Really small difference. Everything else is going to be subtle filtering changes. Configurator changes are the big deal. Mark is modest about those. Oh, yeah. You know what? I definitely have 4.3 on the Moongoat because I noticed in the OSD today there was something different in the OSD somewhere. So, yeah, I definitely have 4.3 on the Moongoat. That's right. That's right. Talama says, I do the same. Massive overcommit into the hobby. To the point where I've learned how to do that super efficiently. Yeah, right. It's not a bad thing. Some stuff takes a while to really understand. Yeah, I mean it's the like being super into something and then like learning like the meta stuff, like the hobby within the hobby within the hobby. That's the juice for me, man. That's where hobbies get really interesting to me. And it's always sort of been that with motorsports. It was when I started to really dig into instruction and and suspension geometry and suspension tuning and the engineering side was really fascinating, and the relationship between the engineering side with your driving was also like just super cool. And yeah, it takes a long time. It's you can like. I feel like with you like learn individual things at first, and then once you've been into it long enough, you start to combine those things and learn how all those things sort of work together. And that's what can sometimes kind of drive me nuts about tuning, because like there's just not a right or there's just not like a perfect tune for everyone. There's not like a right. It's just not that black and white. And I think that that can very easily get lost in translation. Like a tune that's good for me might not be good for somebody else. And I think we need to talk more about that. Because yeah, tuning is can be, doesn't have to be, but it certainly can be a very unique thing, and it can allow you to set your stuff up to be absolutely perfect for your specific needs. But unfortunately that's pretty difficult to do. Like that's why I don't talk too much about tuning like on the streams in like a super generic sense. I offer the tuning services on Fiverr because I don't want, and you know it's why I don't give you guys like PID dumps or really like tell you to run my exact tune. I specifically tell you not to, because I don't know how every single one of you guys flies differently, and your tune to get the right tune for you, it should be for you. It's not just like a blanket thing. I mean, not to mention that doing like diffs and dumps is just super unsafe and creepy. But yeah, the doing the and also it's rig specific too. That's the other thing, right? There's just not a blanket PID tune that's going to work for everything. Every rig has a different response time. Every rig has a different ratio of power to weight. Lots and lots and lots of different things. And I remember that being very frustrating when I was learning all this stuff. I remember just being like really pissed off that like I couldn't just copy somebody else's tune and have it work. It drove me nuts that I had to do all the learning myself. And I don't know. I don't think I think if you're going to take it to the limit and be like extraordinary, you kind of have to do that. There's just you kind of just can't cheat it. You know what I mean? You got to do the hard work. But hopefully nowadays with myself and Joshua and Mark and Crunked and a lot of the other people that have done some of that legwork, hopefully we're doing an okay job at trying to break this shit down and make it so that it doesn't take so long to learn it, because my God, it took a long time for me to learn it. it's interesting. Like I learned it from doing it. Like I didn't learn it with like the numbers, and I love hearing Mark talk about it because every single time I connect another little dot, because for me, like my tuning experience has been out of flying and like changing a value. I know what that does to the flight characteristics of the rig in the air, but in a lot of cases, I mean much less so every time that I watch another video of Mark's, I don't necessarily know what's going on, like the maths that are going on, basically. And to combine those two things is great. Because just knowing the maths is not really enough either. Because there are certain situations where the math is going to say, yo, this is wrong. Like, for example, me using very low feed forward. Like, if you look at my rigs, if you look at a black box of my rigs, it looks awful. But if you watch the footage that comes out of my rigs, it looks beautiful. The numbers can't tell you what the footage looks like, right? The numbers can just tell you how much error there is or how much lagging behind set point there is. But I do that for a very specific reason, because it creates a very specific look in the footage coming out of the camera. So yeah, it kind of all goes back to the realization that there's just too much going on. Like there are just so many things on top of things on top of things on top of things happening on our rigs that like there just is no best, right? Like just 48K for life, like that's just not true. As just a random example, it's not quite that black and white, and every pilot is completely different, and that adds just like an infinite amount of variability there, and I wish we talked more about that, because I think that's really important, and I think that people can get really frustrated functioning off of this like 1 + 1 = 2 sort of tuning approach, because it might not fit their style, and I think that might be something that leads people to stray away from Betaflight sometimes even, because KISS does have a different feel for sure. You can get that if you understand Betaflight. You can accomplish the exact same thing, because KISS doesn't have anything different. Like technically, yeah, I mean you could just use the Betaflight settings to do the exact same thing and get the benefit of RPM filtering, but it takes a long time to learn that, right, and to sort of get to that point. But what's nice is you're not really a good enough pilot until like by the time you've put enough time in to get to that point. It tends to sort of just naturally happen, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But I guess the flip side of that would be that it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, maybe. Like it would be nice if there was just a button that we could hit and it would just be perfect, and then we could focus all of our efforts on just being a better pilot rather than wasting some time on learning to tune. And learning to get the most out of it. But that's also something that will further separate one pilot from the other, and that's not a bad thing. An interesting I don't know. Oh my god, the chat is on fire. So much orange. Jason Crabtree says the DJI FPV drone should be able to get us shut down. Great. Awesome. Dauntless says Buffy the Vampire Slayer is going on, so I'm out. We now all see where Dauntless's allegiances lie. Rocksteady FPV says, speaking of motorsports, do you host races on Gran Turismo, or do you have a PS community page? I don't. I haven't actually played Gran Turismo Sport in almost a month. I'm just I just need to put a little bit more time in here with FPV stuff to. I got a lot of really good momentum right now. I was using GT Sport to get through some mental health things, and I'm doing really well with them. So I just don't need that time to bring my brain under control at the moment. So I'm diving into the FPV thing hard right now to get as much done as I can because I've got a lot of stuff cooking. I kind of always do, but it just feels really good right now. I'm in a really good place with with this work and just mashing through some shit. So it's really good. I'll be back to GT Sport for sure, but this is kind of my cycle with video games. Like I'll get into video games for like a couple months, and then I'll realize that like I'm not working hard enough at work or with other things that have more value or whatever, you know. Value is a weird word to use there, but yeah, I'm just in a little bit of a downtime period with video games. Also, Brad and I started playing Minecraft, and that's been super fun. So any video game time is typically going into hanging out with Brad on either SnowRunner or Minecraft. Gran Turismo is a game that I would just basically play alone. I'm also going to bed a lot earlier. I used to play video games when I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night, but I've actually been able to go to sleep at like somewhat human hours, which has been fantastic. So that's another sort of reason that I haven't been doing much gaming. But that's okay. I love doing this work. I love doing FPV stuff. This is a really good problem for me to have. If you want to view it as a problem. What else do we have? Dalton says, that's not true. I fly exactly like Mr. Steele. Sarcasm, I hope you realize, of course. He also says, is that a CB3? Must be because that's all you talk about besides the rip squeak. This is actually a CB 2.5. Little tiny bit lighter. But yeah, same thing as a CB3. I wish there were more good 3-inch frames out. I really do. I wish I would really prefer to have more than just these two frames to talk about. Jackalope FPV says, I'm still really new to the hobby, and half of these discussions are over my head, but I enjoy watching you work and listening to you talk. Love your passion. Thanks, brother. Jackalope, you are doing the right thing. What's nice about listening to conversations that go over your head is that some of the words are still going in there. And eventually you'll have these moments where you go, oh, and it'll all kind of come together. So yeah, man, just keep it up, and it'll all come together. I promise. It's gonna take some time. Be as patient as you can. Try not to get too frustrated. You're gonna get frustrated, but yeah, just keep going, brother. This is a wonderful hobby. With some really, really cool people and some really cool opportunities. And yeah, I've had a lot of hobbies, and this one is super unique. A lot of things about this hobby that I like a lot better than some of the other hobbies that I've had. Not to say like those other hobbies were bad, but like there's just a lot of benefits to these hobbies. Like the whole motorsport thing, man, like having to work on the cars outside really sucks. Like just being able to do this work in the house is amazing. Like if nothing else. It seems like a weird thing, but man, like living in an apartment like trying to build a race car in an apartment parking lot in a complex is a fucking nightmare. It just sucks. It's just a bad experience. And this is also a very inexpensive hobby, all things considered. Especially if you don't fall into the trap of buying garbage and that's something that I really try to help you guys out with. Is I've wasted a lot of money on shitty components, and I try really hard to help you guys not have that same experience, because it's very demoralizing. And there've been a whole bunch of times where I've gone to sleep like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. These ESCs keep exploding, and I don't know why. And then the stubbornness comes in, and it's just like, nope, you already committed, bro. Figure it out, or else you'll never forgive yourself. So, stubbornness isn't always bad. I guess. Maybe. No, it is. It's always bad. Come off of there, you little jerk! Oh, the motor is off. I thought the motor was still bolted down. Here we go. There's one. There's two. This is the problem with cutting these motor wires really short, but this these little 2.5-inch arms are very short. I should have skipped the race wires. That would have been the smart thing to do. But man, I am a stubborn son of a bitch. And I think they look hysterical. On a 5-inch rig, I really like the LEDs because it really makes people react to the quad a lot better. People are just less freaked out, and it's more like, ooh, cool, than like, oh my god, that thing sounds like it's going to cut my face into 1,000 pieces. That's because it is. Matthew Vega in the house. I'm with you on getting deep into hobbies. I learned to fly to distract myself from my problems. Kept taking lessons and forgot to quit. Forgot to quit. That's a great way to word that. Flying has been my job for almost 20 years. Rocksteady says, glad to hear you're doing good. I haven't raced since starting this FPV hobby in June of last year. Vicious Stitches says, Gank Multi-Rotors has a really cool 3-inch frame. The Nemesis, he's also redoing it so it has room for HD. Vicious, the only thing keeping me away from that frame is that it doesn't have any motor protection. I expressed that to him. So maybe if you also express that to him, don't tell him like, hey, Ciotti told me to tell you. Just say, if you care about motor protection, right? I don't want to I don't want to command you to do something you don't want to do, but yeah, I don't know. If you care about motor protection, maybe ask him if he has any plans to make it have room for HD and have some motor protection. I would love to run his frames. He seems like a super cool guy, but without motor protection, I just can't do it. He knows? Okay, cool. Awesome. Jackalope says, true, you shed some light on throttle limits for me tonight, which is useful. Awesome. Huff19 says the guy who came from race car driving. Yeah, right. Okay. Appreciate it, Vicious. Yeah, I don't know. I want more good frames. And motors are a pain in the ass to change out. And it's not that much of a weight. See, it is a weight penalty, but durability is just a big deal. I don't know. I think having a really durable rig encourages you to fly harder, and typically when you fly harder, you have more fun. So, and this is about fun, right? And this is about flying hard and flying well, and that's what she said. So, I'm not going to be putting these motors on here because I forgot that the goddamn CB 2.5 arms are 9x9 mount only. So, hey! Awesome. Okay, so instead, we're going to do these AMAX Performante 1303 7500 kV. God damn it. Okay. So I'm going from a 1304 to a 1303, which I really don't like. But I do want to try these motors. So, fine. Fine. This is fine. This is fine. And this is a 2mm motor shaft, but luckily I have Kebab's little 2mm prop driller outer tool. So this is not the way that I thought it was going to go, but that's okay. These motors are going to get put on something else. Are those other 1303s 12x12 as well? Please don't be. Please don't be. Please don't be. Please don't be. Nope, they are. God damn it, Larry. Well, I might have just been looking at the 1404. Hold on. Let me actually take one out and look at it. It's gonna be. Oh, no, it's not. Oh! Foot in mouth. Foot meet mouth. Cool. Okay. So we've got... Good. So we've got 3 different motor options. We just took the RCX 1304s off, which are a great choice, and they're only $8 a motor, and they're awesome, but they come from China, and you have to wait or pay a lot of shipping. This is a 1303 and a half, 8,000 kV. So 1303 and a half, 1304, old school 1304 versus new school 1303 and a half. That does feel nice and smooth versus 1303. Very, very, very lightweight. Ooh, a little notchy. 1303. So I'm going to step down in motor size. So I'm used to this rig on the 1304s. I'm going to go to the 1303 and a halves now, and then we'll go to these AMAX 1303s. I think I just said some numbers wrong, but you guys are smart. You can figure out the numbers that I just got wrong. Was on a 1304. We're going to go to a 1303 and a half here, and then we're going to go to a 1303. And we're going to be scaling both of these down. I'm going to scale these down to the equivalent of 5,000 kV so that it's the same RPM as the RCXs that I pulled off of here. So, all right. These guys get put aside. These guys come out to play. 1303 and a half, 1303 and a half, 1303 and a half, 1303 and a half. And then here's the 1404. Oh wait, no, I bought 5. Okay, so pull one out of there. Here's the other 1303 and a half. Okay. And here's the one extra. And then here are the 1404s. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with these 1404 and a halves. What? Well, okay, so I'll put these on a rip squeak. We'll do a 1404 and a half rip squeak. Yeah. Oh, but I need more of the 12x12 mount arms. Okay, so I'm gonna have to order more arms from Bill. Alright, cool. Brandon says, Hyperlight, what size? Sounds like 4S. I'm going to try for 10 kilometers tomorrow. Good lord. 1303 and a half, 1304, 1303 and a half, 1404 and a half. But what I'm going to put on here for these 2.5 inch props are these 1303 and a half, 8,000 kV. So this is going to be good. This is going to allow me to either confirm or deny the fact that 4S 5,000 kV is too much for a 2.5 inch prop. I can so the argument that it's too much is based around the potential of, I just heard the TV come on, that means Kristen's done working. I'm going to leave this for next time. Because I was really not looking forward to do, let me do one. I'll do one for you guys. I'll do one for you guys. I really just want to go fucking relax though, but I hope you guys appreciate this. I'm doing this for you. Yeah, it comes from the thought process that the motors are just saturated at that RPM, And I'm going to be able to test that with this because I'm going to be able to motor scale these things up and down. I'll motor scale them. I'll do the math to put them exactly at 5,000. And then I'll scale them up a little. Well, I guess I'll scale them down first to see if there's a significant loss in power. Or no. Yeah. I'll scale them down to like 4,500 kV, basically. And then I'll see if it does feel like there's less power, which I'm pretty sure that it will. And then I'll scale them up to like 5,500 kV. Well, I'll scale it back up to 5,000. What's cool is I can just do this in the OSD. So I can just do a couple throttle punches to get my ear in, because you'll be able to hear it. And then I can just land it, move the motor scale up, take it back off, another couple punches. So yeah, I mean, I can pretty much do it in the span of like one battery, more than likely. And yeah, I'll be able to figure out the what's going on there. That'll be pretty cool. Because yeah, so what I was saying about saturating the motors, these micro motors, they can't deal with heat very well. It's one of the reasons why these really tall motors are no good, like 1407, 1408s. They don't have enough stator width to shed enough heat. So like you start to go full throttle and the motor is already fully saturated and overheated, and they really don't like that. Electric motors really don't like to get super hot. They lose a ton of power, and you can hear it if you go full throttle and your rig goes whee. That's the motors. Like, you want to be able to hit full throttle and have like whee. You know what I mean? You want to have at least a little bit of time where it stays up at full throttle, because that means that it's not saturating too quickly. You don't want it to saturate right away like that. I mean, at least I don't. You might, if you have like a wacky reason for it. But I certainly don't. So here we go. We're going to put on motor number 4. And then I'm going to go relax. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. I measured it on the rear one. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. All right. All right, cool. And of course, it's also all dependent upon the pitch of the propeller that you use. It's a lot of P's. So yeah, this is yeah, again, lots and lots and lots and lots of variables. But my preferred 2.5-inch propeller is pretty low pitch. It's the Emax Avan Rush, which is like a 2.4 pitch. But Avan's pitch, the Emax Avan propellers, their pitch numbers are, I don't know, they don't, it performs like a higher, like a propeller with more pitch than 2.4, if I'm totally honest. Which is really annoying. But different propeller designs just perform differently in wacky situations, like when air starts coming in sideways, or I don't know. These rigs are so dynamic that, like, you just, as hard as we try to quantify things with these rigs, it's really you could say that it's kind of a waste of time. You could make a really good case that that it's just a waste of time to try to quantify all these things, and all that matters is putting the different piece on your rig and flying it and see how you connect with it. But I mean, that's just that answer sucks. I hate that answer. I mean, I think there needs to be a little bit of each, a little bit of maths and a little bit of go by feel. So there you go. That's what one of these motors looks like on here. I'm gonna do the other ones probably just like tomorrow during the day or whatever, just to get it knocked out. But for now, it's been over 3 hours, and I'm gonna go relax. As much as I love you guys, I don't love you 3 hours worth. That's not true. I've done 12 and 24-hour streams before. I obviously love you guys well beyond 3 hours. Julian Vincent says, go fucking relax. Go relax perfectly. Don't tell me how to live my life, chat. Don't do it. RC Ritter says, sounds like tall motors like low-pitch cruise with very sporadic full throttle bursts. I'm trying to find a reason for the taller motors. I keep thinking lower, fatter works better. It does, RC Ritter. The only real reason to run tall motors is that they are a little bit lighter. For at the same amount of to get the same amount of power, you can save a little bit of weight. So like the taller motors they're actually more efficient, but they're only more efficient if you don't go full throttle. So like for a long range rig maybe, but yeah, like everything else about the taller motors in my opinion sucks. They just don't. Yeah, it's just not worth it. The 4mm tall and the 5mm tall stator motors for micros, they're just way better. They just and here's the other thing too, right? 5-inch has had 10 times the R&D cycle that micros have, and look at the dimensions. Look at the ratio of height to width on a 5-inch motor, right? It's pretty short and fat, right? It's very wide and it's not very tall. Why would a micro motor be? Why would we think that on a micro a really tall and not wide motor would make any sense or fly anything like a 5-inch rig, right? We always say like my micro flies like a 5-inch, my micro flies like a 5-inch. Well, unless it has motors that resemble that same ratio of height to width, it fucking don't, and it never has. I've used 1407s, 1406s, 1408s, 1606s. Like I've used all these micro motor sizes, and the only motor sizes that actually do in the real world, not just like I just spent $100 on these motors, they better fucking feel like a 5-inch rig. Oh, they do feel like a 5-inch rig. No, they don't. I'm just tricking myself because that's how the human brain works, and I don't want to feel like I just wasted $80 and 2 hours of time, right? When you actually put that aside, the tall motors don't feel like 5-inch rigs. They just don't. So, thanks for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Yes, I'm still here, Julian Vincent, but only for about 10 more seconds. CiottiFPV.com. RC Ritter says, have you tried 2604? I have not, and I will not be, because they just desync all over the place. It's just that motor size is outside of the window of motors that don't desync that Kebab has formulated. And yeah, not to mention that size, that wide of a stator, makes really no sense. A 26 wide stator with only 4mm of height, the throttle feel is going to be awful. It's like as you raise the throttle, nothing's going to happen. So I have zero interest in 2604. Even a 2605, no interest in that whatsoever. It just doesn't make any sense. RC Ritter with a $2 super chat to end the stream. He says, Danko. Thanks, guys. Here's some flying? Or the computer will just take a big steaming shit on my face. You gonna work now? There it goes. Here you go. Here's, I don't know, maybe this is good. Maybe it's not. It's just on the memory card that's in the computer. Come on. Come on. There we go. See you guys tomorrow. CiottiFPV.com if you want me to keep doing this. It's up to you. Your decision. Later, guys. Hold on. I've lost the desktop audio. I think I know why. Ha! That's why. There we go. Now it's going to work. See you guys tomorrow.